why. Forse è un po' tesano. Adesso ne mangi il lupo, però adesso ne lascia a mezza lì. Guarda che caldo. Sì, vero. Guys, I'm coming in a second. right.
Okay, we're ready for the jury.
I've never had food so quickly in my life. Oh man, we're gonna do a meme review. I hope you're ready for the memes tomorrow or later. Hello guys, nice to see you again.
All right, thank you. Seated. All right, your next question.
Your Honor, I'd like to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 155.
Okay.
That's the makeup palette.
Oh, okay. Any objection to that?
No objection.
All right, 155 in evidence. Do we have it?
I think it's there. We had pictures for.
All right, thank you. All right, 155 in evidence. 155, yeah. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. Michelle, can you bring up Depp Exhibit number 357B as in boy, plaintiff's exhibit, and it is a tape recording from June 2016. The timestamps are 4:47 to 7:52.
All right. Is that in evidence yet?
I'm going to move the admission of it.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
was that going to be for the whole 357, or is that 357A, or is that?
That's just B. I have that as B as in boy. I think there was a portion that
Okay,
was
357B. Any objection to 357B?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 357B in evidence. Thank you.
I can just tell you the basic facts is like it was private for days after I filed. You did not have to file. That's not a move that the other party has to make.
Okay.
It's just not.
Okay.
And you did.
Okay.
Well, your team did.
Okay.
And then within 5 minutes it was private in T&Z. You just do the math yourself without any other thing, and it's very clear.
Okay.
And I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that, and if that's the case, I'll acknowledge it. And if you say you have proof, then I'll acknowledge it. Look, it doesn't shock me that any fucking
It just makes sense.
attorney would do something like that. It doesn't, it doesn't shock me. But I'm telling you now, if they file the fucking papers tomorrow, which means the shit I gotta file before we go to court on Friday. If they file those papers, first of all, it's very bad for both of us. Okay.
Well, your team's not gonna file anything that they think is bad for you. Trust me.
No, you're what you're saying. You got to do something to protect yourself, which means throwing me under the bus for some video about me being.
Not me. I have to respond legally. Meaning I'll have to go and pursue I have to pursue the whole course of action, because here's what you don't understand. If we do this And if you, well, basically, well, no, because I called my lawyers and I said, why aren't we negotiating more? What is going on? Where are we? And they're like, everything is in their court. We literally
They won't settle. Your agents won't. Your lawyers won't settle, baby. I'm telling you.
We want to mediate. We even have a mediate. We even found mediators and everything. Like that was all worked out. So the thing that Laura didn't agree to was she did not want to agree to a mutual gag order, and that's the problem. That she doesn't want the gag order. Why, Johnny? Why? Why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she want both parties to not talk about this in the press? By the way, just talking about the press, not even talking about the court.
Okay,
Why?
I tell you what, Amber, let me get on that right now. I'll fucking get on it right now, and I'll get a message back to you somehow. Just but I'll get on it right now.
I just want you to know I'm not doing anything and have not been doing any moves. Let's look it up, the timeline. Nothing was on the office. Everything's been a defensive move because I'm being called a liar and a gold digger. And I'm not lying about any of this shit. And I am not after a dime of your money. And
why do you stop there? Why do you stop?
Do you remember when you had this discussion with
Play
Mr.
the whole
Depp?
thing fully.
Yes.
When was that?
I believe that was June of 2016. So after the divorce, while we still had the restraining order.
Wow.
Okay. And what, if anything, was going on with respect to a gag order at that point?
Objection calls for speculation.
I'm asking her. I haven't.
All right, overruled. Good. I was trying to get Johnny to stop the smear campaign. That
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay. Lack of foundation.
What, if any, discussion did you have with him about a smear campaign?
Johnny told me that he would ruin me, that no one would ever touch me, meaning professionally, no one would ever work with me again, that I'd never work again, that I'd be selling Depends, is what he said, and that he'd ruin my career, and he refused to not engage with. Up until that point, he refused to not engage with the press by leaking.
Objection, Your Honor.
false.
Calls for speculation.
How is that speculation?
This is what he's telling her, correct?
Right.
Okay. All right. I'll overrule the objection. And up until that point, I was trying to, get him to call the dogs off, call it off, because it was forcing me into a position where he was calling me a liar and he was forcing me to prove it. And I knew that wasn't going to be good for him. And I kept saying, don't make me prove it. I don't want to. But he was calling me a liar and having a really sophisticated, very, very well paid, very sophisticated PR machine.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the objection.
I'll move on. Let's go to Depp exhibit, that's Plaintiff's Exhibit 357C. That's 12:30 to 16:30. I'm going to move the admission.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, 357C in evidence.
All right. Michelle, if you can play.
I'm not, it's not about that. It would not be about me throwing you under the bus. You know what it would be? It would be released through documented people coming on the record and having the protection to do so that haven't had yet. It would be eyewitness statements. It would be evidence, tons of it, and it would be through years. And it would be unbelievable to imagine that either I'm in A, secret fake club, or B, I've had
A secret what?
I've swapped a secret fight club, or that I have been plotting to do this for for 3 years, and taking pictures of it and documenting it, just saving it up for the right time when I'm not asking for any money and have nothing financial to gain from it. But no one is going to believe that. No one is going to believe that one of the two alternatives, either I'm in a fight club or I I've been going through hair and makeup or going through makeup through all these years where I have corroborating text messages between people that match those dates of those timestamp validated photos of either corroboration between people hearing us or corroboration of next day, Whitney sending text message to Kevin, him responding, or, the kind of stuff like between me and people in your life. It is insanely cross-bend. It is a plan. I'm going to put makeup on myself and take pictures throughout years and just sit on it for years. While having this imaginary life run parallel to it. Do you understand that the pictures I have match with text messages to my mom back and forth about it? And text messages between, say, Raquel and my mom, or Raquel and my dad, or, between my two friends. Or there's a text message where I tell Jody the night before I had that James Corden night show thing, where I say, hey, Jody, I've had an accident. I think I have a busted lip, I may have a busted nose and 2 black eyes tomorrow because I don't know how bad it will be until the morning.
I want to see those pictures of the James Corden show so bad now.
I don't know how. I think I'll let you know in the morning, and things like that. It doesn't matter. There is nothing there. Nothing, and all of that won't be me throwing you in the spot. That will be evidence in this case, which it will be criminal as well, because I cannot go on Friday and file without filing a police statement first. And the only reason I haven't filed that police statement, which has been used against me, by the way, every day, and the only reason I won't do it, I haven't done it, is because I don't want to hurt you, and that means it goes out of my hands. And the third-party prosecutor come and a criminal lawyer come, and they went the problem is hearing from you, your biggest struggle is that it's the most solid evidence case of domestic violence I've ever seen, and if you give this over to them or present any part of it, they will prosecute him. And I felt like I would never want that for you. It's hard for me to even understand. I don't call myself, in my head, it's hard for me to even accept any sort of victimdom ever.
Can you please explain what the context of this was?
A bunch of BS?
I was begging Johnny to not make me prove what I've had to sit on the stand in front of all of you and prove and talk about. I was begging not to do this and have to sit where I'm sitting today. I didn't want this.
There you go.
I don't want to be here. I didn't want to be there then. And I was trying to point out something to somebody who I thought did not have a firm grasp on reality.
Oh, wow.
Objection calls for speculation.
Look at the gaslighting.
Overruled.
Good. Thank you.
I was trying to point out how absurd it would be for him to keep making me prove this by calling me a liar. I was trying to get him to not call me a liar because everything that I had said to date and everything I've said to date now is the truth. And I was begging him not to make me prove it, that there were photos, that there were witnesses, that there was my testimony. There were years of me with injuries on the dates where we were fighting, and they were documented. I mean, pictures from 2012. So I was trying to say to him, either you'd suppose that people would rather believe this is a hoax, elaborate, well-orchestrated, year-long campaign for what? Or that, what? It just seemed crazy.
$7 million.
And I thought no one was advising him in his best interest. I thought no one was telling him the truth.
Also $50,000
I know I was surrounded by
a
yes men,
month.
and I thought nobody was saying to Johnny, this is crazy, don't do this.
And the penthouses.
And I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't want to hurt him. I loved him. I loved him so much.
$2,000 a month of clothing and the Range Rover.
That's why I'm explaining to him why I didn't file criminal charges. I didn't file a police report, even though it was being used against me. I didn't want this to go to a prosecutor. I didn't want this to
40 million tax free.
hurt Johnny. I don't want this to hurt Johnny.
Counter-suing him for
Michelle,
100
can you bring
million.
up Depp Exhibit 357D as in David? And that is 17:25 to 17:37. I'm going to move the admission, Your Honor.
All right, any
No
objection?
objection.
All right. In evidence, 357D.
I've
Baby.
been called a liar.
Baby.
And I've been called
Baby.
a gold digger.
Baby.
Everyone is.
Baby. Amber, I didn't call you those things. I didn't call you those things.
Baby.
I'm going to go on now to, can we go to Plaintiff's Exhibit 357E? And this is 21:47 to 22:37. I'm going to move the admission, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection.
357E. Thank you.
And you're stronger. And so when I say that I thought you could kill me, that doesn't mean you counter with you also that you lost your own finger. I am not trying to attack you here. I'm just trying to point out the fact of why I said
They just
call
skipped the
911.
part of the audio.
Because you had your hands on me after putting the phone in my face, and it's gotten crazy in the past, and I truly thought I need to
Wow,
stop
this woman.
this madness before I get hurt.
Oh my God.
Now I know why Johnny Depp is always looking down.
I never defend myself that way. I never see myself as a victim. It's
Alright.
your fault, you know?
All right. Yeah.
And I, when they came, I did not cooperate with them. It has been used against me, not by the media, by your side.
And what are you referring to there?
Oh, come on.
I
Please.
don't want to call myself a victim. I don't
Please.
like to think of myself as a victim, and I don't want him to think I'm attacking him or blaming him. I'm pointing out I didn't cooperate with the police, that I didn't want to get him in trouble, that I didn't want to hurt him. I don't want anything from him. Just don't call me a liar. It's all I said. Just don't call me a liar. Just don't say this isn't real. Because I'm the walking proof of it.
I'm going to ask to bring up Plaintiff's Exhibit, Depp Exhibit 357F as in Frank, 24:04 to 24:48, and move the admission.
All right, any objection?
No objection.
All right, 357F.
I have said only this from the very beginning. I only have my integrity. And the unfortunate thing is,
What about mine?
taking it a step further,
What about mine?
they keep taking, that's what it keeps, I'm trying to say to you, literally
How you can
in words,
distort
I'm out of my mouth, that's what I'm trying to say to you.
Reality, man.
Every step of the way, I have said to them, the thing is, they're hurting Johnny by this, because every time that they call me a liar, or they say this is not true, or Steven, this text message did not actually happen, or that your security guard, which by the way was a follow-up to your security guard thing they never saw abuse happening. The same security guard who, by the way, have said to me multiple times that I was going to get killed.
And what are you talking about there, Amber?
That even though Johnny told me
Drier than Arizona.
that his guards would say whatever he needed them to say, that they were the same guards who had told me that I would lose my life
Objection, Your
this
Honor.
way.
Hearsay.
All right, sustained objection.
It came in through the tape, so that's all right. We're fine. Let's go, Michelle.
Your
let's
Honor.
go to-
Yeah, if we could approach, please.
I'm sorry.
Wow, it's so amazing how you can distort an audio. If they would just play the entire audio that we all know, they just skip the part where he tells her, like, Amber, I lost a freaking finger in Australia. And she just stopped
Michelle,
in
can
her
you bring up
track.
Depp Exhibit 357G, Plaintiff's 357G, and it's 26:00 to 26:28.
Well, at least she's getting the last acting of her life.
Oh, move the admission. I'm sorry.
All right, any objection?
No objection.
Oh, obviously, they're gonna have to say they didn't see it in front of me and other people that have heard them.
You're gonna have to do this under oath too, you know.
I will, because the unfortunate part is, I can talk about all of this.
Do you believe all this, Emma? Do you believe all
Oh,
this?
yeah, the stuff that, yes.
You believe I'm an abuser. You believe I'm an abuser.
In May, in December, in April.
Wow, so
What were you
convenient.
referring to with the May, December, and April?
Just listing some of the times in which he beat me up
Wow.
and that he knew about.
So I'm going to take you now fast forward into the July 2016 timeframe. There was a mediation that came about during that time.
Shameless.
What, if any, intent
Truly
did you
shameless.
have to reconcile with Mr. Depp at the time of the mediation?
I wanted there to be no animosity. I wanted to minimize the animosity. I wanted to reconcile in that way. I didn't want to get back together with him, if that makes sense.
Oh, please, show the Audi of San Francisco.
Can you just briefly describe what transpired during the July mediation?
Even though I had a TRO and I wanted to move on with my life, the campaign I mentioned earlier, the smear campaign, the article after article, the hounding me, the, leaking
What?
fake.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
What?
All right, sustain the objection. Okay.
Please
What-
explain.
What I was meeting with him about is because he had, put these things out in the media. It seemed like every day
Objection,
there
Your
was a new
Honor.
attack. and
Calls for
something
speculation,
stopped.
lack of foundation.
All right.
Did Mr. Depp discuss with you that he was putting these out in the media?
Objection, leading.
Oh, overruled, I'll allow it.
Yes.
Okay, please explain.
He told me he would tell his team to back off and to back off effectively if I agreed to do certain things. One of which, there was, he wanted me to, drop charges. He wanted, or some version of that. He wanted me
version of
to
that?
get back together with him and go on tour with him in the tour
Seriously?
bus. He wanted me to do certain things that I thought were impossible and that would definitely go against all of everything that I stood for and had earned in getting my TRO, getting my restraining order and moving on. But I had to break the TRO in order to beg him to stop the machine, the press machine, because I was
What
feeling
a
like I couldn't live
liar,
my
man.
life. I was being
Wow.
dropped from commercial opportunities. People were turning on me. A campaign I shot dropped me. I mean, it was just, I had never been inundated with that much press. Every single day, me and my family were, and every witness, anyone who
What a
even
weasel,
indirectly
man,
supported me
this
got
woman is.
bombarded.
What a weasel.
And the
Objection.
media campaign
Calls for
was,
speculation, lack of foundation.
I'll abstain just the last part of that, all right? Next question.
Okay. We heard Christian Carino testify earlier. Can you describe to the jury what your relationship was with Christian Carino?
he was my commercial agent, meaning he handled things like campaigns for a short amount of time, and then became Johnny's agent around the time of the divorce. He was a kind of mutual friend at the time between Johnny and I, and so he helped us kind of negotiate or mediate a time where we could meet, and my goal in that was to just beg Johnny to stop doing this.
Objection, non-responsive.
Overruled, that's right.
What, if any, desire did you have to return to Mr. Depp after the divorce?
None.
Now, you heard Mr. White testify that he engaged in negotiations with you during the settlement process of the divorce. What, if any, discussions did you have with Mr. White?
None. The first time I saw him was on the testimony screen in the UK during the UK trial. I've never spoken to him.
So he didn't negotiate your settlement?
No, he did not.
Okay. What was important to you in the divorce negotiations?
The statement. That was it. The statement. I wanted a mutual statement, and I wanted him to call get the press out of this.
Wow.
Just make a statement, and in that statement, clear my name. I wanted to clear my name. It's all I have. I said this to him too, and he knew this. All I have is my name. I come from nothing. All I have is my integrity. All I have is my name. And that's exactly what he promised to take from me.
Why did you agree to accept $7 million as your settlement?
I didn't care about the money. I was told if I didn't agree to a number, that it could be overturned. That this would never it would never get completed, it would never settle.
Objection,
and then it would
hearsay.
be overturned.
What was your
Sustained, go ahead.
What was your understanding?
That if I didn't agree to a number, it would be overturned. So I took far less than what they were offering and what I was entitled to.
And why did you donate it
What
to
you were
charity?
entitled to?
I promised the entirety of it to charity because I was never interested in Johnny's money. And in the divorce, I just wanted my safety. I wanted to move on from my life. I wanted my future. And then he started compromising that,
Jesus
calling me a
Christ,
liar,
man, I'm
making it
feeling
impossible
like-
for me to move on by doing so. So then I wanted the truth. I wanted him to clear my name and to leave me alone.
I feel dirty.
I've been saying that since 2016.
Jesus Christ.
So why did you donate 3.5 to Children's Hospital and 3.5 to ACLU?
I feel
Well,
dirty,
I pledged the
man.
first half, or 3.5, to Children's Hospital because I'd been working there as a volunteer for well over a decade. I knew the facility well. I'd worked there with another nonprofit, is how I got affiliated with them, and I knew they could use the resources. I was familiar with it. And
What about the ACLU?
and then ACLU because I was a supporter, because I believed in the work they were doing. I believed that they were doing good work for people who deserved it.
Why did you make the donations over a period of time as opposed to just a lump sum?
Two reasons. The short of it is because I was receiving the settlement in installments. I was receiving the installments over time. Second of all, so I could get the tax benefit of paying overtime. It's my understanding that's how you pay these large sums. You pay it over time.
Did you make any payments towards these donations?
I did.
Okay. Approximately how much?
I allowed for the first installment, which is $100,000 to each. That came straight from Johnny in 2016. I followed up with $350,000 that year, 2016. 2018, I did another. Oh, and I also donated $250,000 to Art of Elysium, which is the affiliate I was just speaking about, that does the work in the Children's Hospital. It was not going to count towards my overall pledge, but I did that too. And then I did another donation to each in 2018. And then Johnny sued me, 2019.
Before we get to that, did anyone make donations to the Children's Hospital or ACLU on your behalf during that time period?
Yes, Elon also, Elon, who was my boyfriend at the time, had his own charitable contributions that he made. He made $500,000 to both in my honor, in my name, in 2017, I believe.
And have you completely fulfilled your donations to the ACLU and the Children's Hospital?
I have not yet.
And why not?
Because Johnny sued me for $50 million in March of 2019. And I have spent over $6 million.
Objection, Your Honor. This is a motion in limine.
That part was supposed to come in.
Once you come forward, let's take a look.
They're playing it very well. They're playing it very well. In all of this, she looks like the angelic victim that has done nothing wrong. Not even once. Not even shit in the bed. It's quite astonishing, actually. Wow. I actually lost I must have like a speech impediment listening to this woman. You try to be as not biased. You try to be as open to everything as possible, and of course here, as you can see, there is all type of, like, I don't want to say formality, but there's just a way of acting in court in between what it's presented, how it's presented, what it's chose to be heard, what it's chose to be, from both sides, what kind of question, and so on and so forth. Obviously, everything is curated, and this allows for obviously swaying the opinion in one way or another. That's to my understanding. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, at the end of the day, both, they might get out of this without nothing. The jury might not decide, they might decide to not award any damage to anyone, I suppose. They're playing it quite they're playing it quite well, actually, from her team. I personally don't believe her, but we are just doing commentary here on YouTube. But it's you feel frustrated because you see how they manipulate the truth, what is out there.
So going back to that, then, could you afford to continue making payments to the ACLU and Children's Hospital?
No.
Okay. What, if any, intention do you have to fulfill your pledges and donations to these organizations?
No.
I still fully intend to honor all of my pledges.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I would love for him to stop suing me so I can.
What, if any, deadlines are there on your pledges and donations to the ACLU or the Children's Hospital?
There are none. They understand.
Okay. Now, let's go to Defendant's Exhibit 1458, which is already
Sick
admitted.
to the stomach of this woman.
Now, I'm going to just direct your attention to paragraph 27, where it says, neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. There was never any intent of physical or emotional harm. Amber wishes the best for Johnny in the future.
Thank you,
What, if
Julieta.
any, significance did that have to you?
That was everything to me. That was the most important thing in the separation agreement between us, is that he acknowledged that I hadn't made a single false claim, that my allegations were not false. I thought that just because he signed his name to it, he'd honor it. I mean, he signed his name to it, and I thought it would mean something.
Right.
He acknowledges that I never did it. I mean, I never made a false claim, and I didn't do it for financial gain. And that's what I was being called at the time, a gold digger and a liar. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, of course.
We can take this down, Michelle, and I'm going to now take you to post-divorce and your career. Please describe for the jury how your career evolved after the divorce, which I think was final in February 2017.
I had to fight really hard to keep my career. After I got my TRO, I lost opportunities. I got canceled from jobs. I got dropped from campaign I'd shot. I was told I was going to be dropped from.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
Sustained objection.
I fought to keep my job in a movie the biggest movie opportunity I had to date.
Which was what?
It was Justice League with the option to become Aquaman. It later became Aquaman, but I had to fight really hard to stay even in Justice League because that was right around the time of the divorce.
Can you tell the jury what Justice League was and what your role was in that?
It is a superhero franchise, DC action film, and it introduced my character, and it provided the base for the Aquaman spinoff that followed it, but that was not a reality at the time of shooting Justice League.
All right. And then you were able to be in Aquaman, is that correct?
Yes, I kind of showed up to work months early and stayed really late to fight to keep the job. I managed to keep it. And managed slowly to kind of to gain through this kind of hard work and goodwill I was able to foster. I was able to keep and make other jobs, and eventually made a movie called Aquaman, and Aquaman was very successful. I think it was the most successful DC film by its release, and I was getting my career back, even though it was. It took a major hit when I got my restraining order against Johnny.
So let's talk about Aquaman for a moment. I think you said it was the highest grossing film of DC films, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. When did that come out?
December of 2018.
Okay. And what was your role in Aquaman?
I play Mira.
And was that a lead role?
Yes, it is one of the leading roles. It's the female lead opposite Jason Momoa's character of Aquaman.
Okay, so you were his mate?
You could say that, yes. I was his
Look at the fake
love
smile.
interest, the female. I was a female lead of the movie.
Okay. So in December of 2018, as Aquaman's coming out, why did you agree to participate in the op-ed?
Well, because I
Publicity.
believed in some of the causes that the op-ed was seeking to advance. There was a lot of attention and energy around gender-based issues, gender-based violence issues in general. I had just recently become an ambassador for the ACLU. I was proud of that ambassadorship, and I was looking forward to the opportunity to lend my voice to what I thought was a great cause, which is just a conversation around women's issues and gendered issues that I think the whole country was having at that time, quite a political conversation and cultural conversation at the time, and I was happy to lend my voice if I could.
Who drafted the first draft of the op-ed?
The ACLU.
Did you initially want to include Mr. Depp by name or reference?
No.
What were you trying to accomplish by the op-ed?
I was trying to raise awareness around some of the issues that I just mentioned. There was some legislative reform, Title IX being one of them, and there was just a greater cultural conversation being had around gender issues, and I was happy to weigh in on what I saw as the unique phenomena that women and typically women experience in our culture when they come forward against somebody more powerful, when they speak up about gender-based violence. And I thought I could lend my voice to that conversation. I thought I had something to say about that.
Were you trying to boost your sales for Aquaman since it was coming out in that same time frame?
Yes.
It doesn't work like that. I don't think any op-ed,
Don't fake.
A major motion picture or major franchise like that is not aided by the publication of an op-ed in the Washington Post. I'll put it that way. But the other way around can be said. You know, I was wanting to lend my name at that specific time to potentially advance the causes within the op-ed.
Because of your success as Mira with Aquaman?
Yeah, just the publicity of the movie and the success of the movie would hopefully, in best case scenario, only add and lend itself would lend attention to the issues that the op-ed aimed to address.
What did you do once the ACLU had your agreement to be the spokesperson for the op-ed, to put your name to it?
I sought the advice of my attorney.
And why did you do that?
Well, because I didn't want to get into any sort of legal issue. I didn't want to have any sort of legal problems for talking about what happens to women or people when they come forward and speak about these sorts of issues, especially when they come forward against someone more powerful than them. And that backlash, the retaliation that people face when they come forward is exactly what I was writing about. And I didn't want Johnny to retaliate against me and quite literally prove my point.
And
See how she's looking at him to see
so
if he...
who was the counsel that you hired?
She's proud that she
to
made the point so
review
well,
the
and then
op-ed?
looks at him
His name was Eric
briefly
George,
in challenge,
Where
like,
is he
here,
located?
take this.
Los Angeles, California.
How did you know Eric George?
Eric George is the attorney who represented me in a different litigation against the producers of London Fields, the movie I mentioned earlier about having a body double and sex scene that I didn't approve of.
What was your understanding of Eric George's experience and skills to be able to review that op-ed for you in the context of your concerns?
Objection, speculation.
I'm asking her understanding.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Did you have knowledge of Eric George's abilities at that time?
I did. I thought he had an excellent reputation and would give me great advice.
Okay. And what, if any, experience? What was your experience with him in representing you earlier?
I thought he was a fantastic attorney, very smart, and I trusted him.
Without going into the content of it, what, if any, of Eric George's advice did you follow in the context of the op-ed?
I took all of his advice. I made all the edits he suggested. I took all of his advice.
And what, if any, of Eric George's advice did you ignore?
None. I mean, he's my lawyer. I listened to him.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, if we can pull up, Michelle, Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. Now, this is the online version of the op-ed, and it has this title, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. What, if any, role did you play in this title?
None.
What, if any, role to your knowledge did the ACLU play in this title?
None to my knowledge.
Okay. Are these exact words anywhere in the article?
No. No, they're not.
When did you first become aware of this title being included in the online version of the op-ed?
I think in this litigation is the first time I realized that.
Okay. I'm going to now ask, Michelle, can you bring up Plaintiff's Exhibit 2? And this has also already been admitted into evidence, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is the paper version, if you will, of the Washington Post with your editorial. And if you go to the second page, this one has a title, A Transformative Moment for Women. What, if any, role did you play in that title?
I didn't.
Okay.
None.
Now, do you recall seeing this version, the newspaper version, at the time?
Yes, this is the version I saw. I'm very proud of it. I had it framed.
You had the newspaper version, not the online?
I did. I had the newspaper framed.
Okay. And now I'm going to ask you to turn to, and Michelle, can we pull up plaintiff's exhibit number 3? And do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to move to admit plaintiff's exhibit number 3 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, 3 in evidence. You can
If we can
publish.
publish it to the jury.
She behaves
Thank you.
so properly here. I wish they would play the whole
Now,
4 hours and a half.
Is it fair to say
argument.
this is a tweet?
Yes, it is.
And can you explain to the jury what a tweet is for those who are not as social media oriented?
A tweet is a posting on a social media network called Twitter.
Okay. Now, did you send this tweet?
I think so. I must have.
Okay. And what, if any, control did you have over whether the title given to the op-ed online was included in the tweet?
You don't have control when you're retweeting something. It's my experience that you don't control a title when you're retweeting something. You don't get a chance to re-editorialize someone else's title.
Okay. And at the time you sent this tweet, do you remember even noticing that title?
I do not. I don't think I even realized it.
Have you ever typed the words from that title?
No, I have not.
Now, I'm going to ask you, let's go back to number 2, plaintiff's 2. And I'm going to ask you, what, if anything, in this op-ed was incorrect?
Nothing. Every word of it is true.
And I'm going to direct your attention specifically, and if we can blow this up just a touch,
I like how she
and move up
said
just a touch, Michelle, if you can, so we get to then 2
every
years
word
ago.
is true, and then to emphasize.
Then 2
she
years
takes the
ago,
big
I
side,
became a public
you know?
figure representing domestic abuse,
came
and I
across
felt
so
the full
fake.
force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out. Was this true or false?
It's true.
What, if anything, did you do about speaking up about domestic abuse 2 years earlier?
Well, I went and got a restraining order against my then husband and walked out to a sea of media and endured to that point 2 years of vitriol from the media and from Johnny Depp supporters in retaliation for having done so.
And I guess you're really answering my next question, which is, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out. Is that what you were referring to for that next?
They're
Yes,
playing
because at
it
the time,
so well, man.
I
They're
thought it couldn't
blaming
be worse.
everyone else but herself.
Obviously, now from where I sit today, no, it gets a
Now
lot
it's all of us.
worse.
Now we are responsible.
And then, Michelle, if we can move this up
Now
a
we are
little
to
bit
blame.
further.
Wow.
Well, actually, that's perfect, Michelle. Then I don't have to use my purple again. Then you said, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. Is this true or false?
The guy was
True.
literally dropped
And
2 days
explain
after
to me
this
what you
article
meant
came out.
by that and how that was true for you.
It was dropped by DC
I got a
2 days
restraining order.
after.
I had to prove to a judge that I needed one. I had a bruise on my face. I got a restraining order. I showed pictures. I had proof, and yet everyone, the media, the studios that both Johnny and I worked for, they were ready to support him. They made statements in support of him. They were ready to fire me.
Seriously?
Objection, Your
Attempted to
Honor.
fire me.
Seriously?
Hearsay.
All right, I'll sustain the objection.
Seriously?
What, if anything, did you witness with respect to institutions?
Meaning the people that we work for, the institutions we work for, the studios we work for, decision makers in my industry, filmmakers and powerful people and decision makers within my industry whom I had not ever even met, who didn't know anything about what happened behind closed doors in the marriage of Johnny and I, were making comments about me, statements about me. I was dropped from campaigns. It was hard for me to work. I was harassed. I'm harassed on a daily basis, death threats, and just the fact that that wasn't, there was no parity. The studio and these decision makers and such were so ready to support him and eager to
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right. So what, if any, ill will or bad intentions did you have or intend against Mr. Depp by assisting in writing, giving your name to this op-ed, and in publishing it?
None. It's not about Johnny. The only one who thought it was about Johnny is Johnny. It's about me. It's about what happened to me after Johnny. It's about what happened to me after I escaped my marriage. It was about me and my life and what I endured once I moved on and got a TRO and moved on with my life. It was about what happened to me after. The only one who made it about him, ironically, is Johnny.
I'm going to, we can take that down,
She's so
Michelle.
proud
I'm going
of
to
herself.
turn to something about electronics and transparency. You've testified about, and we've seen photographs and audio recordings and text messages, emails, etc. What, if anything, have you done to cooperate in the authentication of all of these things?
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Sure.
I am honestly speechless. They're doing a good job, though. I give you that. They're doing a good job.
Mr. Depp in this case, correct?
That's correct.
And it's
What
based
happened?
on 3 statements that Mr. Adam Waldman, Mr. Depp's attorney, made, correct?
What happened here?
Yes.
Okay. I'm
Yes.
Yes,
okay. I'm going to ask if you can pull up Defendant's Exhibit 245. But, Your Honor, I'm going to ask, do we have
It's already in evidence.
Your Honor, if we may approach
Okay,
just
sure.
real quickly, because I think we can move this along faster if we do this ahead of time.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, doing a good job at leading on and trying to disprove every bad media that we have witnessed in 1 week of holiday of the trial. But obviously, we have to see the cross-examination. I disagree with her being arrested by the media. She was working, I didn't know much at the time. I even saw Aquaman. I didn't care. I just saw Justice League. I didn't think about this whole thing very much, honestly. Even though I heard about it, but So Johnny was the one that got fired 2 days after from Walt Disney, after that article came out, to my understanding. So I don't know if she has really clearly the idea what's happening. The sad part about this, you know what it is? The truly sad part about all of this is that once no damage is being awarded, that the jury prove or decide that none of them is being defamed or defamated, I don't know how you say that, but she will continue with this line, because that's what you do, of course. Once you're dancing, you have to dance until your grave, basically. Yeah, and that's the more tragic part of all this story, we have to believe few pictures of questionable entity with no bruising or anything, not even sure the metadata. We have to believe those few bottles on the floor, a very curated angle of houses, and we do not have to believe all the other evidence of Johnny missing a finger, being punched in the face many times. There are also pictures of that with real swelling. And that's how it is. If justice is not done here and they don't come doesn't come through this, you know, we all go back home and everybody believes what they believe. And that's the end of the story.
Okay, we're going to start by bringing up defendants 1245.
All right, and moving that into evidence, no objection, 1245 in evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. And this is an article that was in the Daily Mail on 8 April 2020. You see that? And then, Michelle, if you can move that to the next page, and perfect. It says, Adam Waldman, Depp's lawyer, said afterwards, Amber Heard and her friends in the media use fake sexual violence allegations as both a sword and a shield, depending on their needs. They have selected some of her sexual violence hoax facts as the sword, inflicting them on the public and Mr. Depp. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Is this a true or a false statement?
False.
And why is it false?
Well, you don't have to use what I've lived through and what I've survived, calling it fake, saying that I'm harming Johnny with this, I'm harming the public with this. This is what I've lived through, and to say that it's a hoax, that these aren't even real things. I mean, after everything I've lived through and survived, and also I hadn't even spoken about the sexual abuse within my marriage. I had been protected.
Seems like we have also trouble. They have trouble with
Protective of that. I didn't want to talk about that ever. Adam Waldman was the one who put that out in the world. As remarkable as that is, I protected that. I had to go to another country to give testimony, and thankfully they allowed me to do so with confidentiality and some protection. And then Johnny, through his lawyer, not only uses that against me, but says it's a hoax.
Thank you. Now I'm going to ask if we can bring up, and it's going to be 1246A. And I think I'm moving this into evidence as well.
There's no objection, so 1246A is in evidence. You can publish.
And this is an article that was published on the 28th of April, 2020. And Michelle, if we can, thank you. And this one says, Depp's lawyer, Adam Waldman, said, quite simply, this was an ambush, a hoax. They set Mr. Depp up by calling the cops. But the first attempt didn't do the trick.
Seems like true.
He told DailyMail.com. And let's keep going. So Amber and her friends spilled a little wine and roughed the place up.
That's true.
Got their story straight under the direction of a lawyer and a publicist, and then placed a second call to 911. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is that true or false?
Seems about right.
Couldn't be more false.
And why is that?
Every part of it is false. I didn't call 911. I didn't call the police. I refused to cooperate with them to protect Johnny. I protected Johnny. I didn't call them once and I didn't call them twice. I didn't rough up the place. I cleaned up the place. I didn't even know the second cops were coming. If I wanted to get something from him, I wanted to hoax Johnny, why wouldn't I cooperate with the police? Wouldn't I say something to the police? Wouldn't I do more damage to the house than just knock over the things that you saw pictures of? It makes no sense. And to do it online when there's no fact checking, there's no authorities, there's no one able to, I can't respond. I can't fight this and use these sorts of media leaks and these comments to re-echo over and over and over again online with a network of people that are intent on helping Johnny through a sophisticated PR machine. to
Objection,
echo
Your
this
Honor.
abuse at me
Hearsay,
over and over again.
speculation.
Shut up.
I'll sustain the objection. Next
Okay.
question.
All right, and so what in fact
I know what happened.
did you do that night?
I claim
You called the cops because you wanted to have it on record.
Up.
That's why.
I protected Johnny.
You
I
didn't
refused
you
to cooperate
protected yourself.
with the police, like so many other people do. I tried really hard to keep it private even after that, even when I was committed to filing for a divorce. I tried to protect Johnny. I tried to protect the history of what we had. I tried to protect him. And did the opposite. And I didn't even have a lawyer. I didn't call my publicist. I called my contract attorney to get me another lawyer who could give me advice on how to protect Johnny. Every bit of this was to protect Johnny and to protect the secret that I had fought really hard to keep for nearly 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Which was that behind closed doors, things were not what it looked like.
Okay. Michelle, can you take this one down and go to defendants 1247, please? And Your Honor, I'll move the admission.
All right. I know there's no objection. 1247 in evidence.
And Amber, this is another Daily Mail Online, and this is published on 24 June, updated on 25 June 2020. And then if we can go further. And this one says, Depp's attorney, Adam Waldman, said, "We have reached the beginning of the end of Ms. Heard's abuse hoax against Johnny Depp." Is this true or false?
False.
And why is it false?
Because unfortunately, all of this is real. And what I mentioned earlier about how preposterous it would have to be for this to be this elaborate hoax, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't fathom one day that that would actually be legitimately the position that he, through a lawyer, would take, albeit online, where he could get away with it for some time.
Objection. Calls for speculation.
Sustain the objection.
And why is this so absurd?
Because Johnny and I lived this. We lived through this. I lived through this, and I narrowly survived it. But I survived it. And, I have mountains of evidence, mountains of proof, and yet it won't be good enough for people who are seeking to make money off of Johnny's success.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
No, sustain the
That's
objection.
fine. Okay.
Please show
So
us.
I'm going to take you now
Please
to
show us
the
all this
damages
evidence, please.
that you've suffered as a result of these statements by Mr.
We'll
Waldman on
side
Mr.
with
Depp's
you. Show
behalf.
us everything, please.
Please tell the jury how you were doing reputationally.
Objection. That's a legal conclusion, Your Honor.
I'm
We
sorry.
move to strike counsel's testimony.
Come forward.
Wow, sounds like serious. We move to strike. Counsel testimony. All right, that seems like an important thing. Thank you, Jennifer. Oh, I would love that she would get mad. Like I said many times, I became biased after watching everything that is out
From the
there.
record, we'll disregard that question. All right. Your next question.
Not just out of sympathy for Johnny Depp.
What was your understanding of on whose behalf Mr. Waldman was making those three statements?
Objection. Lack of foundation. Calls for speculation.
If you want to approach again, that's not what we just said here. I just want.
If you show us all the evidence, we'll side with you right now. Right now. We'll side with you right now. Everything is out there. Seems like a different story that you're telling. If there's this mountain of evidence, show us, please. And we will
So, we'll move forward
apologize
to my
as
other
well.
question here.
I will be the first
How
to
were you,
apologize
please tell
to
the
you.
jury, how were you doing reputationally before these 3 statements were made, beginning April 2020? April 8 was the first of them.
Objection, Your Honor. I'm going to object on lack of foundation.
She can talk about her reputation.
Overruled, I'll allow.
It took hard work. It took a lot of hard work on my part, but I was able to work, get my life back on track.
Thank you, G.
I was taking care of myself emotionally. My career, I was working really hard. I was able to star in a major success. I worked on a TV series that I had been attached to for a very long time. I became an ambassador for several nonprofits that I deeply care about. I was doing a lot of really, it felt really good to be doing the social work and the charity work that I was doing. And I was also filming and working and planning on, I was awaiting a schedule from Warner Brothers for Aquaman 2, the sequel. And I had wrapped on that TV series I mentioned, and I was awaiting to start doing publicity for it to promote it. And I had a campaign, a global campaign, as a spokesperson for a major beauty brand. So things were, the trajectory was positive.
So how did things change after these statements were made?
I remember around the time, unfortunately, I lost my mother on the 1st of April. And I remember it was when I was grieving her that I got a call that I should be expecting a script for my role in Aquaman 2.
Objection, Your Honor,
JD
hearsay.
story of his
Stop.
mother
Prove the
death
truth.
Overruled.
to gain PT. She's
So
a
I was
master
waiting
manipulator
a
in
schedule and a script for that. Feeling concerned that I wouldn't have enough time to grieve before having to get back into work. I had a press schedule to promote the TV series I was doing, and I was shooting things for this beauty brand. And then I remember at that time the beauty brand had to suspend posting what I just shot for them because they were getting bombarded.
Objection, Your Honor. This is hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay, all right.
They said no. I mean, they suspended what I had shot.
Objection, Your Honor.
Were you actively involved in campaigns for L'Oreal before these articles?
I was.
Were you actively involved in campaigns with L'Oreal after these articles?
No.
Were you with The Stand? You were talking about the TV series. That was The Stand, correct?
Yes, the TV series that I had already completed.
All right. And were you actively involved in publicity for The Stand prior to these articles?
Yes, I was.
Were you actively involved in the publicity after these articles?
No, shoots were canceled. Things were canceled.
With respect to Aquaman 1, Aquaman 2, you'd already starred in Aquaman 1, right? Just so and they called it Aquaman at that time, but now there's an Aquaman 2, just right for...
That's correct.
Okay. So were you actively scheduling timing for filming and scripts for Aquaman 2 before these articles?
Yes, I was.
Were you actively scheduling after these articles?
No, the communications stopped at that point.
All right. I'm going to, Michelle, can you bring up Defendant's Exhibit 1258? I'm going to show you what has been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 1258. It's dated September 21, 2015. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Okay. What is it?
It is the Justice League Aquaman contract.
Okay, Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 1258.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor. May we approach?
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
I have an objection. I want my 4 hours back of life. That's what I want. I object to this. I object to this being public. I wish it wasn't. I swear to God, we are covering this. I'm listening to this and I'm like, wow. Oh, good Lord. Oh my God. The thing that gets me is the mountain of proof. And yet, what we see is like the same 3 pictures. That's it. The same 3 pictures and that's it. That's it. But there is a mountain of proof. Actually, there's more proof in those audios that we have heard, which they're available for everybody to listen to in their entirety, not just selected, curated clip that the lawyers are showing. There is much more through there than anywhere else. But we have to live with this. I swear to the universe, I just hope this thing was not even public. Oh, man. Oh, man, the memes are going to get great. Don't forget to check also the videos of those memes that I'm doing on the trial. There are great memes and stuff coming out. Later, if I still have a little bit of time, I'll do a video meme. So don't forget, when you see the notification, at least we'll have also a little bit of fun with this, Again, I'm leaning towards Journey like many of you, but I said this a gazillion times. I'm not here to hate on anybody, but this seems so obvious, and the more I listen to this, it's so frustrating. But we have to sit through this and hope that the truth really comes out. That's all. That's all we can do. I also noticed YouTube is demonetizing a lot of those videos, even though there is no curse or whatever. So YouTube is
Amber,
also
can you
actively
explain to me
seemingly
how that
discouraging
the contract
people
structure
from
was for
reacting
Justice
to this.
League and options? Just explain to the jury, please.
Well,
It's
we'll do it anyway.
structured like a 3-picture option. I signed on to do Justice League, where my character was introduced. The fee is, small relative to what it will become if and when you do the other options or movies in that under that umbrella. So it was the contract for Justice League, which could then become Justice League
guy.
2, or it could be
I saw some
Aquaman,
video.
or it
That
could
guy
be
is
some
awesome.
other movie within
Umbrella
the DC universe.
I want to talk to him.
And the second picture ended up being Aquaman. And then the third picture, Aquaman 2. Each time the fee goes up, but...
Objection, Your Honor. This is calls for speculation, lack of foundation.
Overruled out loud.
As far as the contract is concerned, that's what the contract says.
All right. And if we go to page 6, so what was your fee going to be for Aquaman? And what was it for Aquaman?
$1 million.
Okay, and then was there also box office bonuses, opportunities?
Yes, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, there are box office bonuses. If it makes a certain amount in the box office, you get a bonus.
Okay. And it says picture number 2. At the time you entered into the contract with on Justice League, did they know what the picture would be?
No, as I mentioned before, when you do the contract...
Objection calls for speculation.
All right,
Listen,
I'll sustain
nobody's
that objection.
interested in this, really. No
Okay.
one is interested.
So ultimately, what was picture
We're
number 2?
interested in
Aquaman.
the pictures of you
All right.
being beaten
And
up,
then,
so
what
that
was
we can
it for
finally
picture
side
number
with
3?
you. That's the only thing we're
Aquaman
interested.
2.
Okay, and what
Yeah.
was the fee under the option agreement at that time?
$2 million.
Okay. Now, did you have contracts with L'Oreal?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And can you just describe for the jury what was involved with L'Oreal? You talked about being involved in campaigns and then not. Just explain that to them if you can.
As a spokesperson, I'm just involved with the brand as a representative, and a certain amount of commitment you have to do throughout the year on social media and on red carpets promoting various products or causes they're advancing. Generally, it's just like a brand ambassadorship.
Okay. And did you, let's pull up 1262. And this is dated as of April 25, 2018, correct?
That's correct.
Was that your first contract with L'Oreal?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And was that for a term, a specific term?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Was it for 2 years?
Yes, it says 2-year contract, and that sounds right.
All right. And then I'm going to ask you to turn to 1264. And that's April 20, 2020. And what, if anything, did L'Oreal do with regard to extending your contract then?
They extended it. They chose to extend it with the option to kind of.
All right. And did they extend
Thank
it just
you,
an
Ann,
additional 3 months?
For the super chat.
If you look at paragraph 1.
Let's see.
I mean, she wouldn't even have a career.
Yes, they did.
If
Okay.
it wasn't
and
for
what,
Johnny
if any,
Depp.
work did you do for L'Oreal after these 3 statements were made?
I have only been able to participate in, I believe, 1 live event that they also couldn't promote or use the material from because of.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation and hearsay.
Sustain the objection.
Okay. Now let's go to 1265. And this is, as of November 15, 2021, this is another extension with L'Oreal, correct?
Yes, it is.
And if you look at the second option term under paragraph 1, it's an extension of 20 months, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And what, if any, work have you been able to do for L'Oreal since this contract?
As I stated, I believe I've only done
Sorry, guys, the
1
camera
in-person
went
event with them, and they couldn't use the material.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the stand for a minute. Let's pull up 1263. And this is dated July 3, 2019. And I believe you indicated that you had already filmed it by the time these statements were made in April and June of 2020. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And what, if any, marketing opportunities were you participating in prior to those articles?
We had appearances, talk show, press, the normal kind of group cast press junket, promotional material, photo shoot, and I had various publicity engagements lined up, like a magazine cover, that sort of thing, to promote the film. To promote the series.
And what, if anything, were you able to do with marketing opportunities after the 3 articles were published?
None.
What, if any, covers were you on after that for the stand?
They pulled the offer for that, so none.
Okay. And while we're on this agreement, if you look at the second page, how much were you paid for the stand? It's at 6C. $200,000.
$200,000 an episode.
Okay. Now let's pull up Defendant's Exhibit 1266. Have you been able to get any work since that time?
I have done 1 small independent film.
Okay, and tell the jury what that is.
I shot a film in Guatemala. It's a small independent, meaning it doesn't have distribution or, it doesn't have distribution or anything. It's a lower budget film that I had been attached to for many years, called Into the Fire.
Okay. And 1266 has, as of January 13, 2022. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, when did you actually film for this in Guatemala?
I honestly don't care. I just want to say, maybe you don't get work because you're not that bankable. Despite everything, even if you're right, even if none of this happened, you're still not that bankable. That's the reason why nobody's giving you work. You're not Johnny Depp, Jason Momoa, or Henry Cavill or whoever the big name is out there, Angelina Jolie. You know, that's it. That's why you're not working. Don't blame Don't blame it on bad press.
I have.
And tell us about that.
I had to fight I fought really hard to stay in the movie. They didn't want to include me in the film.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Were you ultimately able to get to film in Aquaman 2?
A very pared down version of that role, yes.
Okay. What, if anything, changed in the script?
They took away a lot of...
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I think she can
Lack of foundation.
Overruled as to the script.
Go ahead.
I was given a script and then given new versions of the script that had taken away scenes that had action in it, that depicted my character and another character without giving any spoilers away. You know, they're two characters fighting with one another, and they basically took a bunch out of my role. They just removed a bunch out.
And what, if any, leverage did you have to negotiate a higher salary beyond the $2 million?
Objection, speculation.
I'll sustain the objection.
What, if any, effort did you make to negotiate a higher salary for your participation?
I couldn't renegotiate my contract.
And why not?
Objection, this calls for hearsay and speculation.
You know, I just want to make clear, it's not that I'm looking down on her in terms of ability, but the way they're phrasing this, they're placing themselves as if this woman was like basically the female version of Johnny Depp or Tom Cruise in her career, and all of a sudden she's not getting work. She literally got work because she was affiliated with a high-profile actor, and I'm not saying this out of spite, it's just most likely a fact. And she got work, and she got actually pretty good work for the type of skills and what she was doing. So if you're not getting work, it's really probably not so much about, you know, like all of this. It's just people, maybe they're not so interested. That's it. That's all. Maybe you get some other work, maybe you don't. But don't blame, you know, the fans of other people.
Re-echo and re-energize.
Objection, Your Honor, this is not responsive. Lack of foundation and hearsay.
Yeah, she gets to give her consent for it.
Well, her emotional, the question was your emotional impact of these statements.
Okay.
The impact it has on me is every time I look at it, which is every day. I am set back. I have to relive it. I have to have the worst, most painful things I've ever gone through. Painful memories I've ever had, the things I've narrowly survived at times, embarrassing, intimate details that I never wanted to be known, never wanted to be public ever, and to have them used every single day to call me a liar. I have to relive this every single day that I have to address those claims. Over and over again, the most intimate, embarrassing, deeply humiliating and personal things that I've survived are used against me every day, over and over again. It's torture. I'm in so much pain emotionally.
It shows.
I just wanted him to leave me alone. I wanted to move on with my life. And he won't let me. By making statements like this, he won't let me. I have to be here today. I have to be reliving it every single time. He, with these statements, with these leaks, these comments, once again makes me have to speak to the most horrifying things I have lived through. It's torture. It's torturous. Why don't you have to do that? I want to move on with my life.
I have a baby. I want to move on. I want to move on. I want Johnny to move on too.
The baby. Okay.
I want him to leave me alone.
Baby. Baby in the picture now.
Thank you. I have
She
no further
managed to use
questions.
her baby.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's probably a good time to go ahead and take our afternoon recess based on that. So go ahead and do not discuss the case and don't do any outside research, okay? We'll see you in 15 minutes, okay? Thank you. Please, court is still in session. I need it to be
funny.
quiet in the gallery. Thank you.
It's funny how quickly she always looks towards the jury. Look at that. She's just checking if the jury noticed her, like, you know, exploit of emotions there. She's very concerned about the jury. It is what it is, you know, like...
All right. Why don't we just make it 3:25 then? We'll come back at 3:25? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
It is what it is. I'm almost sick of covering this. In all honesty, I can't wait to check some memes and some other information. Actually, I was just checking some news that people have already find out, like the allegations that she did before when she shows the picture with the scratch under the arm, and they've already cross-fact check that picture. Again, it seems with the James Corden show, where you can clearly see that she doesn't have none of those scratches. I will try to find the sources and the picture. We're gonna do like a video after. This is the beautiful thing about the internet. We are no bullies. I'm not a bully. I'm not bullying on anybody. I don't want you guys in the chat to be bullying anyone. But we're looking at the truth. We want the truth. And we're just sick of being manipulated by the legacy media, by false allegation, by curated messages and pictures. And, you know, like I said, I didn't start to do this only because of the sympathy towards Johnny Depp. All of a sudden, I watched those couple of videos of this guy that did a really good detective work. And I go like, whoa, this is wrong. This is so freaking wrong. Looked like a thriller, you know? I got really engaged. I was like, I got to follow this. And then the more you see it, the more we go to the point where we are today. That it's very difficult to believe a person that she's doing all this effort in acting, and it seems that she believes in it, you know? But it doesn't manage to come across authentic. And I'm not saying that, you know, maybe it's just some people aren't capable of conveying the right emotions. I don't know. Maybe we need some like psychiatrist that knows things into details. But you just look at it, and despite all the effort in conveying the story or narrative and all the sadness and the dry crying, she doesn't come across authentic. And then all we ask is that instead of curated snippets of audios, that we also know the rest of those audios, because as you can see, you have to think about this. You have to think about the court as if it was a separate word. You have to think about the court and the jury as if they lived sort of in a parallel universe, in a sort of capsule, separated from us. Because that's how the jury, to my understanding, has to behave. They don't have to be affected by what's before, what's between, what's after, so to speak, of influences which could come from a YouTuber like me, from other people that they're making comments, so that we cannot influence those people. So they have just to be sitting there, like starting from basically, let's say, as if they don't know who those two guys are, you know, both her and Johnny. So they just, you know, go step by step with evidence that is presented there. Right? So it's like a detached reality that this jury is subjected to. And through all those, let's say, like performance, deposition, and curated images from both sides, they have to make up their mind. Of course, we know so much more, and that's the frustration. So it's not inconceivable that she can get away in there, in their reality, in this encapsulated reality, through her performance, her words, her like dry crying, the some of those pictures, she can get away with it. you know. But all we asking from the outside, because we are listening to this, we are listening to the allegations of constant being battered, not just gently, but like in a manner that does not translate in what she's saying. You know, the way she's reporting those abuses, they're described in such a bigger way, larger way than actually we see in those pictures or on the few evidence that she presented. You know, we hear like he just punched me and punched me and punched me and punched me behind the head and then pulled my hair and then threw me on the floor with all his weights on the bed. I was almost choking, and then he head-butted me. He threw a phone into my freaking face. You know, a phone like this, it's like 200-300 grams or something. You know, if you like throw it a certain speed and it just hits you, you know, like if you're lucky that doesn't hit you well, you might be swollen. But if it hits you like really well, it might shatter your bones, especially where she showed that she had the bruise. So this is the frustration. It's not like we're trying to gang up against a person that possibly could have been abused, you know? That's not the question. But we see the lies, and all we asking is like, okay, give us more evidence then. You know, all that you're offering, it's like some kind of changed color cheekbones that present no swelling. You know, if you get like a cut like with the phone, like the phone like in this like manner and hits you, you're gonna get possibly even a cut, like a good one, like a bruise. Like, don't forget, boxers, they're strong people, of course, depending their category, but they still punch each other with gloves, and they manage to cut those tender places on their face. And you can see like those heavy punches, of course, of professional boxer, but those people, you know, like their faces reacts like everybody's faces, you know, because, you know, a face of a boxer is not stronger than a face of a woman, you know, like that is not a boxer, just to make an example, because there are areas which they're quite sensitive. This is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter if you're like 6'9", like Tyson Fury, you know. He himself, he gets punched in the eye becomes like this much, like this big. They can not even look, like they have to open and the blood comes out. This woman is being punched, I don't know how many times with like hands without gloves. And we have nothing. We have nothing. This is the frustration. This is the frustration. It's not wanting to believe. Is that what we hear does not match what we see. And then what we are supposed to do? We are supposed just to sit here, see this like detach the reality, this encapsulated reality of the trial taking place in there with everything curated, and we have to suffer because justice might not be done. That's the problem. That's the real issue. And we just want the truth. We just want the truth. That's all I would love to see. So far, yeah, I leave it up to you. I don't want to be, you know, like be quoted as somebody that is trying to infangate anybody, you know? But this is what I see. And yeah, do you agree or not? I don't know. But it's really disheartening to have to witness like this. It's really a circus. It's truly a circus. And the great thing about the internet is that all kinds of stuff will come out. You know, everything she said there can be fact checked. And this is the only absolutions that we get out of this, you know? This is the only satisfaction that whatever the outcome, most likely we will know the truth, you know? Most likely we will know the truth. Also because likely there's a lot of evidence. On some cases there is no evidence, there is no pictures, there is no audio. You know, there is not 5 hours of arguing in one session, you know? so many other things. We don't have this much information. And strangely enough, in this case, all this information, it's out there for the public to see and to hear. Otherwise, if we didn't have all those audios that leaked, you know, the 1 4 hour and a half that we went through, the audio in San Francisco, all these other smaller audio snippets, if those were not available and we were just like the jury, we were just to listen to those little snippets, you know, our idea could have been easily like changed. You know, our beliefs, you know, like could have been much different than the one that it is now. So yeah, I just hope that the cross-examination, the lawyers, they're doing their homework, you know, and just challenge all of that it's been said. And I'm just baffled again by the accusation also of not working because it's Johnny Depp's fault. The guy literally got fired by Disney 2 days after that article came out, and he didn't even go through trial. You know what I mean? Was guilty immediately. Was by the mob, you know, by the square, was considered guilty right off the bat. And she's saying that, you know, her career was affected. Maybe people don't like you very much. That's all. That's it. You know, it happens. Where are those great movies that you did before Johnny Depp? Where? So that's also kind of a hypocritical, you know, to blame it on other people. You actually did Aquaman, Justice League. You were in there. People saw it. Millions of people went to see it. Not for you, but, you know, went to see it. Actually, I didn't even have a bias when I watched those movies, you know. I didn't even connect the dots. I didn't even know that she was the the ex-wife of Johnny Depp, honest to God. So those are good gigs, and I'm pretty sure those gigs were given to you, you know. You didn't just materialize them thanks to your talent. So maybe I'm speculating, but probably maybe I'm right. So yeah, thank you, Tamers, for the super chat. She says she barely survived, says Tamer. If that's the truth, then where is the hospital bills? Where are the admissions? Plus, abusers aren't stupid. If she was really being abused, JD wouldn't hit her in the face. She's an actor, for God's sake. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have to go another 2 weeks of this. I'm already exhausted. Luckily, I think this lasts only 4 days a week, right? It's just 4 days a week, and then the Friday and the Saturday and the Sunday it's off. So we have another 3 days this week, most likely, and then we have another 3 days maybe next week. So yeah. It's also said that, you know, like clockwork, she brought in also her daughter, you know, surrogate daughter, because she didn't carry the pregnancy. So yeah. She dragged her daughter into this because that works really well. The mother, now she's a mother. I don't want to sound harsh, but I really have the feeling that we are in front of somebody that has no shame, you know, has no empathy. So when you start to see that, then yourself you start to feel less empathic, less sympathy towards another human being, which is never a good thing, but there is also limits, you know. They played it really well. I have to say, the lawyers, they set up a good day for them. But there are some incongruences which they will surface for sure. They will be fact checked by the internet, and those pictures and dates and things, if it's true that the iPhone has metadata that you can overlay on pictures, all those little details that they make them sound smart, they will be fact checked, and very soon we will know, also for our sake. So I saw some videos of the Umbrella guy, which is covering. It seems as like it's a channel that it's very much focused on this, on this mostly Amber Heard reality, I suppose, Johnny Depp trial thing already for a year or so. So they're really interesting videos, like in depth. So that was interesting. Of course, incredibly average, which his videos basically were the reason I started to get involved into this. Like I like really it flipped the switch for me. I was like, whoa, like nobody knows this. People are forgetting about this. Like the phone calls. They had the guts to sit there and say like, oh, we clean. If I'm not mistaken, not long passed between the two cops going up, and all of a sudden you have them saying like, no, we had also time to clean up all the mess. But then all the mess is like few paintings on the bed. I don't know who would do that. Like who in an act of rage has the time of throwing every painting on the bed? It's like even those pictures seem curated, I mean, I tell you one thing. If you want to make a picture of a room that it's been destroyed, so what you do is trying to go in a corner and do a nice wide angle picture of the environment so you can show in contrast the whole freaking place that it's been destroyed. Not just like 1 square meter of few pieces of glass, a stain of wine, and one picture that was broken glass, but for whatever reason was still on the wall. That little picture had like the cover of glass broken, was punched, and with the force that you have to exert to break the glass on the picture, that picture was still on the wall, didn't fall. The other ones were thrown on the floor, but all of the glasses were intact. Like, I mean, we are not stupid. You know what I mean? We want to see the evidence. Give us the mountains of evidence, and we will apologize. We will apologize from here to the summer. We will apologize for 2 months straight. Oh, thank you so much, R89. She is the one who is not letting him to move on. He's sitting in court right now only because she won't let him move on. By not telling the truth, she has him stuck where she left him. I think Johnny Depp just got fed up. Honestly, he really just got fed up. He's just fed up with. It literally didn't work since 2019. That guy. He did Miyamata, and that's it. One of the highest profile actor of Hollywood, probably in history of Hollywood, right? Because you have to put that into perspective. One of the highest paid actor, one of the biggest A-lister in the history of Hollywood, hasn't made a freaking movie since 2018, basically 2019. Let that sink in for a moment. And then she's complaining that she's not working. Being a superstar, it's not something that it's given to you. It's not an entitlement.
All right. We want to approach? Sure. Okay.
I think we probably have another hour, at the most an hour and a half, and then I think that's it for today. So I don't know if they're starting the cross-examination. Ciao Stefania, saluti da Amsterdam. Thank you, Chris15. I don't think there is a single person in this audience that believes they're honest to God. Maybe one or two. Oh man. It's so fascinating. You know what? It's fascinating that we know the audio dynamic, right? And you see how composed and pitiful she behaves on the stand. But then when we hear the audio of her arguing, JD is always calm, literally calm for hours. Never escalates. And she's always like mad and angry. Toying with him all the time. That's JD security right there. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of JD fans in this audience and supporters. Yeah, I mean, I can run a poll, but I'm pretty sure that we know. We know, at least in this chat, more or less, what people believe in or not. No, I think technically, if it's my understanding, it's correct, is that the jury, it's not supposed to consult anything, not talk to anybody, consult any social media. So let's say that the jury is not supposed to watch my videos or the Umbrella Guy videos or Incredibly Average or the channel of Popcorn Planet, you know, like all those bigger channels which they're covering it in details as well. Actually more in details. Because they're much more like information news kind of channels. Thank you, Roma. Thank you, Roma, for the super chat. Well, I hope she get karma, because you know, the implications of her lying, you know, and sticking with her lies are damaging, like, true survivors, both female and male, of domestic violence, you know. This is really damaging. In truth, I received an email. I received a message from somebody that supposedly it's a psychiatrist, a doctor, that she wanted to add something. We'll see if it's possible. We'll see if we can do a video or a live or something like that. It would be interesting to ask some questions also to somebody that it's a professional, you know, that also has seen this and can give us a little bit more insight. So perhaps I'll prepare a video, maybe we'll do a video, you know. Jane, thank you so much for your comment. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, for the super chat. No, but I also saw already that there are, they're deliberating. They're talking a lot here. Huh? No, like there's a long pause. Something has happened. No, there already comparison between what she said and what's the truth, basically. Actually, I watched the video. I don't know if I watched this video before. I think I watched it on the Popcorn channel. I had already reposted this video that resurfaced of the sister of Amber Heard participating in this reality show, like of 2007 or so, where the producer kind of ran with the story that the sister of Amber Heard was basically beaten up by her because she showed up on the set with scratches and marks. And I just saw that the host of Popcorn Planet actually got in contact, allegedly, with the producer of that show, which told him that all those marks and everything were real, that they didn't fictionalize or write anything in that sort, that the statement that you hear in the episode that she was in an altercation with her sister were actually true. That's actually quite powerful. It's like all the work that also, I'm not American, but if somebody wants to come forward and share some information with me, something that is official, you can contact me on Instagram for sure, Captain Valkyria. I would love to report some of, whatever new thing. I would love to be able to share the truth, Guys, thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you, Susan. Thank you also, Monica. Monica says, it's ironic that she chose to become a mother in the midst of all this drama. Why didn't she become a mom when she had married to the man she supposedly loved, prior to this craziness? I don't think she's, she didn't give birth to the kid. So my understanding is that, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm ignorant on this, but I suppose that's the only way that makes sense, right? That if you take a egg, if you freeze one of your own egg, right, and then you put like a donor sperm, and then you basically take a surrogate mother, and you take that into the surrogate mother, that she's gonna carry the pregnancy. That's my understanding, right? Otherwise, I don't think there's much DNA from her into this kid, right? Am I correct or not? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, exactly. Also, Kev Phillips 02. Yes, let's also keep this in mind. This is a civil case, and there's not going to be any jail time for none of them. So this is just a lawsuit to clear one of the two names, basically. But to my understanding, the jury can award the damage or not. So if the jury, for instance, I think decide to award the 50 million defamation, damage to Johnny Depp, then he's entitled to the money. And I think that also in this trial, they might also, to my understanding, they can also award the countersuit of the 100 million. So this can resolve in a bunch of ways. Either none of the two gets any damage awarded, or one of the two gets some damage awarded. So that's, it seems, what it's going to happen. But nobody's going to go to jail. My question is like, but then if she's found to like how does perjury works? Like do they have to create another lawsuit on the basis of that and go into another lawsuit for the perjury, or that's it, or it's something that will be resolved also here? I don't think so. Probably not. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much for the super chat and the message. We're doing our best here to to share and learn also. I have to admit, today I had a hard time listening to that woman, especially after 1 week of reviewing so much footage, audio, and arguments of the two. It's quite spectacular to see somebody that seems so engaged in that story, that they've created on the basis of a few pictures, which they're not even that good. It's really amazing how much you can stretch a story based on very little facts. The thing that I found surprising is that one friend, I think, deposed in the UK trial, but I haven't seen any friend here. I haven't seen any friend here taking the stand for her. Seems like those people didn't want to get involved. Wow. And this is almost over. I thought I had the volume off. This is almost over. I think like it's another 40 minutes, and I think it's off for today. It's done for today. Oh, good Lord. Like I said before, the one aspect of this whole thing that it's upsetting, it's that once JD name is not cleared from this injustice, her side will just carry on with this farce. Will just carry on with believing that everything that she said really happened. That's how I feel. Like that guy right there is just going like on his knees, like, please universe, please universe, please, I had enough of this, please help JD's lawyer to find the truth, help JD's lawyer to see the light. That's what the guy is there doing. Well, to me, it's still like I wonder if in the cross-examination they're gonna go a little bit more in depth in the footage in the elevator of both instances where the actor and the billionaire were seen with her riding up in the elevator to the penthouse. That would be interesting to expand on that incident and finding a little bit of the truth. What's the timeline, what's the specific timeline, and what's the response? Because you take men into your husband's house, will be interesting to see the timeline of that. Hey, thank you, Pam, so much. Thank you so much for the super chat. You're so kind, so kind. Thank you so much. I think this is ending in around 40 minutes, I think 45 minutes it's over. Here we go.
Thank you. All right, be seated. Cross-examination.
Cross-examination. Here we go. Here we go, finally. Here we go. Finger crossed.
Good afternoon, Ms. Heard.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Depp hasn't looked at you once this entire trial, has he?
Not that I've noticed, no.
You've looked at him, though, many times, haven't you?
Oh, I love that.
Yes, I have.
You know exactly why Mr. Depp won't look back at you, don't you?
I do.
He promised you you would never see his eyes again. Isn't that true?
I don't recall if he said that.
One of the last times you ever saw Mr. Depp was when you met him in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
That was the second to last time I saw him, yes.
She's
And this was
already
after
getting
you had
pissed.
publicly accused him of domestic violence.
I got my restraining order before that, yes.
And this is after you had obtained the domestic violence restraining order against him.
That's correct.
Let's please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 1229. For the record, it's at 1101 through 1209. I'm going to ask that it be admitted into evidence.
Any objection to 1229?
Yes.
All right, 1229, you want to enter it in its entirety?
Yes, please.
Okay, 1229 entered in
She's
its
already
entirety.
pissed off.
Ready
Look at
to play your
that.
instructions?
All right.
I don't understand. Is this what you want?
No. Oh no, a hug will save it all. All this, everything we
I
just
just wanted to touch you.
Really, after all this shit you just said?
I just wanted to give
After
you a
all this
hug.
shit you fucking accused me of, you want to touch me?
Please stop.
Wow.
Please stop.
Fucking nuts.
Please, I just wanted to hug you and say bye. I wanted to end
Yeah,
that.
we did that last night. It's fine. That was good enough. No, because I'm nothing to you, and I will always be nothing to you.
Calm. Calm.
Well, you're not my shrink.
Your hands on my heart. Please just hold my heart.
No, you're in fucking heart. No, we'll never see each other again. You won't neck. Don't take my fucking glasses off. You don't like fucking looking at not my fucking eyes? You will not see my eyes again.
That's you and Mr. Depp in that recording.
That is.
And this is from when you and Mr. Depp met in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
That's fire.
Yes, that's what
man.
it sounds like. That was in the hotel. We met once after that as well.
This is after you publicly accused him of domestic abuse.
Yes, and got my TRO.
And he tells you you will not see my eyes again, doesn't he?
Yes, he does in that recording.
And he kept that promise, hasn't he?
As far as I know, he cannot look at me.
He won't look at you, right, Miss Heard?
He can't.
You're looking at him.
One of the first questions your counsel asked you on direct is, why are you here? Do you remember that?
I do.
Let's please play Plaintiff Exhibit 357A, which is already in evidence, Your Honor. And for the record, it's 2122 through 2140.
Oh man, that was beautiful, man. That was beautiful.
Right, and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and
Yes.
it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
That's your voice on that recording, right?
Yes, it is.
And you were speaking with Mr. Depp?
Yes.
And you said to Mr. Depp, quote, you can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and the judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp, a man, a victim too of domestic violence, end quote. That's what you said, right?
I was saying it to the man who beat me up, yes. I thought it was preposterous.
And the man you beat up numerous times. Right, Ms. Heard?
I could never hurt Johnny.
What a liar. Look out
You're
there.
here in this courtroom because Mr. Depp finally told the world that he is a victim of domestic violence.
I know that he is suing me and has sued
Look at the
other
energy.
people or
How
corporations
it's changing.
that have said that as well.
You didn't think he would tell the world he was a victim of domestic violence, did you?
I found it hard to believe that he could or that he would do that, considering the relationship he and I had. I thought it would be crazy for him to do so, knowing what I know we lived through.
Or, as you said to him in that recording, who was going to believe that Johnny Depp, a man, is a victim of domestic violence, right?
With all due respect, I wasn't saying it because he's a man. I was saying it because he's a man who beat me up for 5 years.
Mr. Depp is your victim, isn't he?
No, ma'am.
And once he left you, you continued to abuse him publicly by calling him an abuser, didn't you?
He is an abuser, and you can look either of us up online and figure out who's being abused online.
We did.
Let's look at some of that. Mr. Depp wears rings on every finger, doesn't he, Ms. Heard?
That's my experience, yes.
And they're not delicate rings, are they?
No, they are not.
Every one of his fingers is adorned, your words, big, chunky rings. Isn't that right?
That's my experience of him.
I
And
love
Mr. Depp is
Camille.
always wearing rings, right, Ms. Heard?
That's my experience of him.
And you've never known him not to wear these rings.
That's my experience, is he normally wore rings, yes.
So Mr. Depp was wearing these big, chunky rings on every finger, every incident of abuse you've described to this jury, right?
I can't say for certain it was in every single incident.
But you've never known him not to wear rings, right?
In general, my experience with Johnny is that he wears rings almost all the time.
Look at manners, how she became sharper and drier.
Ms. Heard, do you recall giving testimony in a deposition in this matter in January of this year?
I do.
Can we please play from your deposition, day 2, 512, page 512, lines 11 through 15?
Oh man, this is good. This is good. Go, Camille.
You said he hit you and he was wearing rings, right, Ms. Heard? So he hit you with rings on every finger?
I don't know if I've ever known Johnny to not wear rings.
Yeah.
Ms. Heard, you testified to an incident in March of 2013 where Mr. Depp hit you in the face multiple times. Do you recall that?
That's correct.
And you testified, quote, you don't know how many times he hit you in the face.
That's correct.
So Mr. Depp hit you in the face multiple times while he was wearing rings on this occasion, correct?
Which occasion in March are you referencing? You weren't
The
specific.
testimony that you gave on day 15 of this trial, March of 2013. You weren't specific as to the day.
There were several incidents.
The one where he hit you several times in the face.
I'm sorry, just so I understand better. There were several incidents in March. Which one are you asking me about?
The time that he hit you several times in the face wearing rings.
Well, he pretty much
March of
always.
2013.
Right. What are you asking me? I'm sorry.
He was wearing rings on that
Look
occasion.
at how she's
I
coming out.
pretty much always knew him to wear rings.
Look how she's
Let's
coming
please pull
out.
up Defendant's Exhibit 170A, which is already in evidence, Your Honor.
Look how she's coming out. You know
You
this
testified
little
this is a
smirk.
picture you took after that incident, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, that was one where he grabbed me.
And hit you in the face so many times that you don't remember. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And there's no injuries to your face in this picture, are there?
Not that this picture shows.
And there's no medical records reflecting that you sought treatment after this alleged incident either.
I did not seek medical treatment at this time.
So there's no medical records reflecting any injuries to your face after he hit you several times,
I did not need to go to the doctor at the time.
Wow.
despite hitting you several times that you lost count with rings on on his fingers.
That's correct. I did not seek medical attention, other than my therapist.
Oh my God. Which therapist?
You testified to another incident in March of 2013 where Mr. Depp hit you while he was wearing a lot of rings. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
And you testified you felt like your lip went through your teeth and it got a little blood on the wall.
Yes, I remember that.
There isn't a picture of you with injuries after that alleged incident, is there?
I don't know if I've seen one. I can't recall. There are a lot of pictures.
You didn't produce any photographs after that alleged incident, did you, Ms.
I don't know if I took one or if it's included. I'm not quite sure which ones.
You didn't show any pictures to this jury after describing that alleged incident, that your teeth, your lip went into your teeth.
Yeah.
You don't remember that, right? You
I
didn't show
don't-
any pictures to this jury after describing that incident, right?
I don't believe I've seen that picture admitted.
We haven't seen it either.
That picture doesn't exist.
I don't know which one you're talking about. We have pictures from March 2013, yes.
The only picture that you've produced and shown to this jury is the one that was just put up on the screen, where you said he hit you multiple times in the face, and you appear to have what is a bruise on your arm, correct?
I believe this is the only picture that's in evidence right now.
Camille, you're phenomenal.
That's the only picture you've shown to this jury from March 2013, correct?
I believe so.
Oh, Camille, you're
You
phenomenal.
testified about an incident in Russia on or about June 26, 2013. Do you remember that?
Yes, that's correct.
You testified that Mr. Depp, quote, whacked you in the face.
That's correct.
And you went to the bathroom after that, right?
I did.
And then, according to your testimony, when you came out of the bathroom, Jerry Judge, Mr. Depp's security guard, who's passed away, pointed out that your nose was bleeding, right?
He did that in the hallway.
And you said you hadn't known that your nose was bleeding until Jerry Judge pointed it out to you?
Yes, that's correct. I was unaware until he brought it up to me. I didn't see it when I was in the bathroom, but I wasn't looking.
So it's your testimony that you went into the bathroom and didn't look in the mirror, which I assume was in the bathroom, to notice that your nose is bleeding?
That's not why I went into the bathroom. I went into the bathroom crying. I don't even know if I paid attention to the mirror. I certainly didn't enough to notice any blood.
And you didn't take any pictures of your bloody nose either, did you?
I did not.
But pictures were taken of you in Russia, though. Isn't that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We had a press or a dinner.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1248.
Oh, it's gonna unravel. Oh, thank God. Thank you, universe. There might
Ms.
be
Heard,
some
this is a
balance
picture
in
of
the
you and
universe.
Mr. Depp in Russia, correct?
That's correct.
I'm going to move to admit.
All right, no objection. 1248 in evidence. You can publish.
And this is you and Mr. Depp in Russia for the Lone Ranger premiere, correct?
It was a dinner function, I believe, in promotion of the movie. Wasn't the premiere, if I recall.
You don't have any visible injuries to your face, do you?
None that you can see.
Seriously?
Let's look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 1249. This is a picture of you, isn't it right?
That's correct.
I'm going to move to admit Exhibit 1249.
All right, 1249 in evidence.
Oh, look at how
This is also a
pretty-
picture from when you were in Russia for the Lone Ranger premiere, right?
What a
That is
pretty
correct.
face.
And you have no visible injuries to your face, do you?
None that you can see.
Even though Mr. Depp whacked you in the face so hard that your nose bled
He did.
while wearing chunky big rings, right?
That's correct.
Wow. That face looks like doesn't even have a wrinkle. I have
You
more
also
wrinkle.
testified that Mr. Depp, again, whacked you in the face after the Met Gala in May of 2014, right?
That is correct.
You testified that you thought he hit you so hard he broke your nose.
That's correct.
You said your nose was, quote, swollen, discolored, red.
That is correct. I took a picture of that.
You testified you took a picture of your face after this.
I did.
But you didn't show that picture to this jury, did you?
I would like to.
But you didn't show it, did you?
That's not up to me.
Oh,
You
man.
understand you were under an obligation to produce all photographs after any alleged incidents of violence, right, Ms. Heard?
I produced everything.
You didn't produce any photographs after the Met Gala.
I produced everything.
Look how she's getting belligerent in the face. Look at how
You also
the look
understand
is
that you're
becoming.
under an obligation to produce
Look at the eyes
all
are
medical
narrowing.
records reflecting any injuries you allegedly sustained from Mr. Depp, correct?
That's correct.
And you haven't produced any pictures or any medical records reflecting a broken nose after the Met Gala in May of 2014, have you?
I have given everything to my lawyers. Everything. I've turned over literally everything that I have.
Is it your testimony, Ms. Heard, that you sought medical treatment after Mr. Depp allegedly broke your nose after the Met Gala?
Not after the Met Gala. I did not seek medical attention, no.
You also attended an event after the Met Gala in May of 2014, didn't you?
That is correct.
You went to the All-Star Comedy Tribute to Don Rickles.
That is correct.
That was the next night after the Met Gala.
That is correct.
And there were pictures of you taken at this event.
Yes.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1252.
Oh my God, I love you, Camille. I love you,
This is
Camille.
a picture of you, Ms. Heard,
Yes, it is.
at that event,
Yes, it is.
the night after the Met Gala,
Yes, it is.
the night after Mr. Depp allegedly broke your nose.
I'm not sure if it was broken, for the record, but yeah, you should see what it looked like underneath the makeup.
He whacked you so hard in the face that you thought you had broken your nose.
Exactly.
Right. Permission to admit this photograph.
All right, 1252.
Oh, we know
In
the
evidence?
picture. I love the internet. Look at that face. Look at that nose.
This is a picture of you, Mr. Depp, and Don Rickles, right?
Rest
That
in
is
peace,
correct.
Don Rico.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1253.
Oh man, it's unraveling. It's unraveling fast.
This is another picture from that evening, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, it is.
Permission to admit Exhibit 1253 and publish it.
All right, so moved. 1253 in evidence.
Oh man, it's unraveling.
This is a picture of you and
fast.
Mr. Depp at the event the night after Mr. Depp allegedly whacked you in the face so hard you thought he had broken your nose.
He did whack me in the face, and I did think it broke my nose.
And this is you the night after.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1254.
Wow, she's sitting there. Oh my God.
This is also a picture of you at the same event, correct, Ms. Heard?
I feel
That is
roasted and I'm like
Move to
5,000
admit
kilometers away.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 1254.
All right, 1254 in evidence. You can publish. Thank you.
And just to confirm now that the jury can see it, this is a picture of you at the same event the night after Mr. Depp allegedly whacked you in the face so hard you thought he broke your nose.
This is a picture of me after he did whack me in the face.
Wow.
The night after, right?
Yes, it is. I believe it was the night after, yes.
It is the night after.
Your nose doesn't appear to be injured in any of these pictures, does it, Ms. Heard?
I'm wearing makeup.
Your nose doesn't appear to be injured in any of these pictures, does it, Ms. Heard?
That's why I'm wearing makeup.
Right. And makeup covers up swelling, right?
Makeup will not cover up swelling. Ice will, though.
Ice will cover up swelling?
Ice reduces swelling. Normally, the swelling after that kind of injury is not as bad as you might imagine. And for me,
Seriously?
it wasn't that bad.
Seriously?
I have a picture of it underneath the makeup. That's how I know how to reference it.
A picture you haven't produced or shown to
did.
this jury, right, Ms. Heard?
I produced everything.
But you haven't shown it to this jury.
I would very much like to.
Please.
It's not my job.
Show it. Show it. Look how she's becoming
Yeah, maybe
challenging
approach.
towards
Yes,
the lawyer. You see how the attitude changes when she's under pressure. She becomes immediately spiteful in the look. You see, she narrows the eyes, and the eyes, they become expressionless when she's looking at Camille. Like, because she's feeling spite. And now she's looking, you see, like smirking with a little smirk with the mouth. Like, yeah, you know, I have to sit through this, seeking sympathy from the jury. Camille, she's doing a great job, because this is exactly what we wanted to see. We wanted to see the incongruences of this deposition and the lies. She literally admitted that Johnny Depp smashed her in the face with those rings multiple times to a level that she almost fainted, or like she said, she thought her nose was broken. And she shows a picture of her face that it's absolutely pristine. I know an amount of ice and makeup that can actually cover up that kind of punishment that you receive to the face. Matter of fact, if you get it in the face only one time, it might take weeks for your face to recover. And it would be really nice to speak to a trauma expert that knows how like swelling and blue spots work. Because I'm pretty sure they do not subside and disappear after 24 hours. The nose swelling really kills me. The nose swelling kills me. It's really like she's living in a totally parallel reality, you know? Like where the law of physics don't work. You know, in her narration, in her novel, the law of physics work differently. Because if she was punched with the hand, like we just saw JD now, with those fingers, with those big, you know, rings, first of all, will literally cut your face. You have no idea, like, if you get punched in the face with rings, I will smash your freaking face. You don't need to be an expert to know that. It could be, could be potentially deadly. You know, you hit somebody with those rings on the side of the head, it could be deadly. I'm not joking. With the right amount of force, of course, not just like a simple punch, but you know, somebody that is caught into a rage and it punches you on the side of the temple with those rings, it might do some serious damage to somebody. Doesn't matter if it's female or male. You can get hurt very badly. I got punched as a teenager once in the mouth, and I actually had what she said happened to her. I got punched in the mouth, and my upper lip went straight into the I don't remember, I think it was the lower lip, went straight into no, I think it was upper lip. I think actually I still have a scar that I can actually show that it's blue in color, and my lip went through my teeth. That so much so that was stuck that when I opened it, I felt the teeth getting out of my own skin. And I'm telling you this, I had a swollen lip. I had a swollen lip that looked like that a bee had stepped on a bee. A bee had, stung me. And I stayed there for a good part of a week. You know what I mean? It did not take 24 hours for the swelling to come down. I remember that very clearly. So this is the stuff that really infuriates most people that seeks the truth. You know, like that we have to sit here and she's sitting there with that straight face, expecting that we have to believe that after all those punches that she claimed she received, she has a pretty face the day after to go to a gala. And we have to believe that the highs and the swelling were covered, that the injuries were just disappeared thanks to ice and makeup. Wow. I don't know how many centimeters of makeup she put on that face, but that face looks like absolutely pristine to me.
Ms. Heard, you testified that in January of 2015, there was an incident in Tokyo before Mr. Depp's Mordecai, the film Mordecai's premiere. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you told this jury that on this occasion, Mr. Depp was kneeling on your back.
That's correct, in the closet.
Wow. And you also told this jury that you wore a backless dress to the Mordecai premiere that very same night.
I did.
And you testified that you were checking for bruises in the car on the way to the event to make sure that there were, quote, no visible marks, right?
I was checking on my phone after the event to make sure that you couldn't see anything.
Your testimony was that you were checking in the car on the way to the event to make sure that there were no marks on your back.
Perhaps I misspoke or I misunderstood. It was on the way back from it. It was after I was concerned. Concerned that there would be marks in any photographs since we were being photographed at Johnny's press event.
And you didn't show this jury a picture of you in that backless dress, though, did you?
I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry.
You didn't show this jury a picture of you at the Mordecai premiere wearing a backless dress, did you?
I haven't had the opportunity to.
Okay,
I assume you have it?
I do. Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1256.
I love Camille. I do. Oh my God.
This is a picture of you and Mr. Depp, or the back of you, at the Mordecai premiere in Tokyo, correct, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
Your Honor, I move to admit and publish this picture.
All right, 1256 in evidence.
This is you in the backless dress at the Mordecai premiere in Tokyo, right?
That is correct.
You would agree that there are no bruises or visible marks on your back in this picture.
No, not that I could see.
I'll show you one other photo. If we could please have Plaintiff's Exhibit 1257.
Oh man, yes, popcorn.
This is a front angle
Julieta.
picture of you and Mr. Depp at that
Popcorn all the
premiere,
way.
correct?
That is correct.
Move to admit Plaintiff's Exhibit 1257.
All right, 1257 in evidence.
I just love that they're nailing her with facts. You know, no with BS, with facts.
I'll show you one more picture. Plaintiff's Exhibit 1258. And again, Ms. Heard, this is you and Mr. Depp at the Mordecai premiere.
Yes, it is.
Move to admit Plaintiff's Exhibit 1258.
All right, 1258 in evidence. Publish.
And that's the backless dress, right, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
You also told this jury about an incident in Australia in March of 2015.
Yes, that's correct.
You testified that after this alleged incident, you had cuts on your forearms, right?
Yes, that's true.
And you testified that you had cuts on the bottoms of your feet as well.
Yes, that's true.
And you testified that you had a bruise across your jaw from when Mr. Depp, quote, clocked you in the face, end quote.
That's true.
You didn't take any pictures of these injuries while you were in Australia, did you?
I don't think I took any pictures.
You just took 2 pictures of Mr. Depp's writing on a mirror. Isn't that right?
I believe so, yes.
Oh my
So you had your
God.
phone on you, right?
At some point I did have my phone.
And your iPad?
I had my iPad, I believe.
And you testified that you were also raped with a liquor bottle in Australia, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes.
You testified you bled from your vagina as a result of that sexual assault.
Yes.
There aren't any medical records reflecting that you sought medical treatment for any of these injuries, are there?
I did not seek medical treatment after Australia, no.
Not for the rape?
No, I did not want to tell anyone.
Not for the cuts?
No,
Not for the injuries to your face?
I didn't need to.
Wow.
You also told the jury about an incident on December 15, 2015, right?
Where? I'm sorry.
December 15th, 2015.
Yes, that's correct.
You told this jury that after this incident, you had a broken nose.
It certainly felt like it.
Sir, do you
man.
recall giving testimony on day 16th in this trial?
Oh, look at the eyes. Look at how she. You will.
You were
Yes,
under
I do.
oath, right?
I'm pretty
Yes.
sure a behavioral expert will tell you that the look that she's having right now, you see how it changed from the way she looked before. Her eyes became much more like expressionless, like
Okay.
devoid
All right,
of
get it.
feeling. She's just there looking at the lawyer with anger. And every now and then she reminds herself that she's still in character and she has to look at the jury. I might be wrong on this, but this is what I pick up. Those eyes immediately became sharper, like really like menacing, challenging. You know, like I noticed immediately the difference. See, she also looked at Johnny the same way. She swept across. You see these eyes? Look at those eyes.
May I approach the
Those
witness,
are
Your Honor?
very
Yes, ma'am.
different
And would you like
eyes.
Yes, please.
And also, the recalling of her rape didn't stir too much deep emotions, apart from a heavy sigh.
If I can please
No
direct your
crying.
attention, Ms. Heard, to page of day 16, 4593, of the jury trials transcript.
Oh, please, be the audio. Please, be the audio. Please, be the audio. Yeah, exactly. She also frowning, you know?
Lines 8 through 13,
On which page? I'm sorry.
4593.
Yes?
Starting on line 8, I thought I probably had a concussion and certainly thought, excuse me, strike that, let's start over. I thought I probably had a concussion and certainly that I had a broken nose. There was blood everywhere, blood all over the pillows. My head was bleeding from the ripped out hair, chunks of hair on the floor, all over the place actually. So lines 9, that I had a broken nose. Do you recall giving that testimony, Ms. Heard?
Yes, exactly.
So you had a broken nose, right?
That's absolutely what I thought.
And you told the jury that you had 2 black eyes after this incident, right?
I did have 2 black eyes after that incident.
And you testified that you also had a busted lip from when Mr. Depp punched you.
That is correct. From December, yes, that's correct.
You testified that the lip wound kept reopening when you moved your mouth.
That's correct.
You also testified that you had bruising on your temple.
That's correct.
Oh, let's see
bruising
the
on your
James
chin.
Corden pictures.
Correct.
You also testified that your head was bleeding from where Mr. Depp ripped chunks of your hair out.
I remember, yes.
And that you had, quote, gross, pussy, and, quote, bruising around your temple.
In my scalp, yeah.
Now, for this incident, you did take pictures.
That's correct.
And we will look at some of those in a minute, but I first want to talk to you about your appearance on the James Corden show.
Sure. Can I close this?
Sure.
She's
You
looking at
appeared
the
on the James
lawyer
Corden
like,
show
do
the day after
something.
this alleged incident, right?
I did.
And that was December 16th, 2015?
Yes, that's correct.
Let's please pull up a clip of your appearance from that evening. If we could, Plaintiff's Exhibit 35. And for the record, we will only be
Camille.
playing a portion of this, so we will call it Plaintiff's Exhibit 35A.
All right, any objection? 35A in evidence.
Thank you so much, Camille.
If we may have it please published.
Okay, thank you.
Apologies. If we can please start that over.
Start it over, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I grew up, in Texas, right?
Ah, yes. Ah, yes.
That was you on the James Corden show on December 16th, 2015, right, Ms. Heard?
That was.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 98. These are pictures of you on the James Corden show on December 16th, 2015, right, Ms. Heard?
They look like freeze frames, like screen grabs. Stills. They're not like it's not like a photo shoot, it doesn't seem.
But on the James Corden show, correct?
From that appearance, yes.
Wow.
Move to admit and publish Plaintiff's Exhibit 98.
Any objection? All right, and Ms. Bernhoff, you could move the microphone and turn it on for you, so Judy and I are having trouble hearing you.
Sorry about that.
All right, thank you. All right, 98 in evidence. Thank you.
That's a photo of you opening your mouth on the right, right?
That's correct.
And again, a larger view of the same photo on the bottom
That's correct.
with a split lip.
You've seen pictures of it without makeup. Yes.
So you had a split lip when you
I
were
sure
moving
did.
your mouth that way
I sure did.
in those photographs.
Absolutely.
Wow. She's lying like through her teeth. Jury, please.
You did
don't
take
be
pictures
dumb.
of your alleged injuries after December 15th, correct? And you showed those to this jury?
I sure did, yes.
Okay. Let's please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 516, which is already in evidence. You testified that this is a picture of you after the incident on December 15th, 2015, right?
It was.
Oh my God.
And if we could also please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 517, which is also in evidence.
Wow. Where's the swelling, man?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is also a picture of you after the incident on December 15th, 2015.
That's correct.
If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 409, which is already in evidence.
Yeah, pretend, yeah.
These pictures ended up in People magazine in June of 2016. Isn't that right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
You gave these pictures to People magazine after you publicly accused Mr. Depp of domestic abuse, didn't you?
I didn't personally know.
This was you protecting Mr. Depp after you got the restraining order against him, isn't it?
No, this is him calling me a liar and me forcing to prove it, as I mentioned to you earlier.
What
So you
a bunch
did
of
give
BS.
these pictures to People magazine.
No, I gave these pictures actually to my lawyers and my representatives at the time.
So it's your testimony, Ms. Heard, that your lawyers and representatives gave these pictures of their client to People magazine in the middle of a contentious divorce?
I certainly did not personally give it, no.
Wow. Thank you, Camille. The freaking just dug a
You also have a
hole
medical record
that you're never
from
gonna get out of it.
after
Oh.
the December 15th, 2015 incident, don't you?
A partial one, yes.
You went to see Dr. Kipper's office a couple days later.
That's right. He wasn't in the office.
Can we please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 47,
Hasta
which
la
is already in
vista,
evidence?
baby. Oh my God.
This is your medical record for December 17th, 2015, isn't it, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
And this record doesn't document any physical injuries on you, does it?
I don't think so, no. I don't think I spoke to Kipper. I didn't speak to Kipper that day. And
But you
I
went
didn't,
to Dr. Kipper's office and were seen, correct?
I went to Dr. Kipper's office for a concussion check.
Right, okay. And this medical record is from that visit, correct?
Partially, yes.
Scroll down, please, if we could.
Man, I love facts. I love science.
Signature,
and
Kipper,
facts.
down below. This is the entirety of the medical record. Right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, what I meant by partial is I didn't talk about what happened to me. I didn't get into my injuries. I didn't get into what happened or ask for anything other than should I get some sort of scan done.
But this record doesn't document any physical injuries on you, does it?
I'd have to read it in full, but I don't know.
Well, let's do that. If we could please go, well, under skin on the second page, it reads intact, normal color, moisture, hair distribution, texture, turgor, no signs of, oh, this is going to be hard, cyanosis, mottling, jaundice.
It also says I'm a well-nourished male.
Right. I have no idea what that means.
I think this medical record's missing a lot of things.
Yeah, but it doesn't document any physical injuries.
Doesn't seem to be documenting anything.
Probably
Well,
because there was
went
nothing to
there.
document, right, Ms. Heard?
I disagree with you on that.
Oh, wow.
You don't have any medical records reflecting that you broke your nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp, do you?
I saw an ENT after my relationship ended.
Seriously?
And you saw an ENT, it's your testimony under oath that you saw an ENT for broken noses that you sustained as a result of Mr. Depp?
No, but the ENT told me I sustained
Objection.
multiple fractures.
No, I'm going to move to strike. Your
I'll
Honor.
sustain the objection. I'll move to strike. Okay.
Thank you.
Wow. I love Camille.
So again, just to try my question, there's no medical records reflecting that you broke your nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp, is there, Ms. Heard?
I don't know what made it in evidence, but I do know that I documented that visit and that everything was given to my attorneys.
Ms. Heard, you never went to see any doctor or surgeon to treat a broken nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp, yes or no?
I never sought treatment for broken nose while I was with Johnny.
Or after you were with Mr. Depp, as a result of any injuries you sustained as a result of Mr. Depp?
Afterwards, yes, I did.
And you didn't produce those medical records in this case.
I would object, Your Honor. She did.
I did.
I don't know. All right.
They have not been produced, Your
Yeah,
Honor.
they not only
All right, if
been
you would
produced.
come and approach.
Oh my God. It's unraveling. Look how she's getting nervous and she's checking the jury. You know why she's looking at the jury like that? Because she's studying the jury. She's studying the jury to see what effect is having this on them. She's trying to cold read them. And I'm pretty sure of it. I would love to see like a behavioral expert on this thing. But this is also the feeling that I get. She has no looks. She's trying to cold read them to see what's going on. But it is unraveling. I mean, those are facts. This is not BS. This is facts. Camille, she's presenting facts. She's not leading on. She's just presenting the facts available through her deposition. I mean, honestly, I don't know what else to say.
You don't have any medical records reflecting that you required any dental work during your relationship with Mr. Depp, do you?
No.
I don't know. I don't recall.
You don't recall one way or another seeking dental care for any injuries you allegedly sustained?
You asked me about if I had produced records or if I had records. That's a different question.
Did you ever see a dentist or an oral surgeon as a result of any injuries you sustained with Mr. Depp?
Not about any injury I had from Johnny, no.
And you don't have any medical records reflecting that you required any reconstructive work during your relationship with Mr. Depp, do you?
I never required reconstructive work, so there would be no records.
What you do have, Ms. Heard, are pictures of Mr. Depp sleeping, though, right? The jury saw a lot of those.
Yes.
Ms. Heard, let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1090, which is already in evidence. You took this photograph, right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
And you testified that this was taken in Tokyo in July of 2013, correct?
Yes.
So you decided to take a picture of Mr. Depp asleep on the floor?
He was passed out.
That's a
And
yes.
I took a picture of him because he wouldn't remember. He claimed he didn't pass out that way. And
How would you
sometimes
know?
security would carry him like a baby into bed, get him changed, and he would be none the wiser. So I started taking pictures of it so that he knew that it was real, that it had gotten this bad.
Oh my God.
Let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1091, which is already in evidence. You took this picture as well.
Yes.
And this is a picture that was taken in the Bahamas, right?
It's one of them, yes.
And this is a picture of Mr. Depp taking a nap on his tropical island.
I believe he was on the nod, but as he would say.
Sleeping on the nod on his island.
They're very different, in my opinion. And
Okay.
yes, he is on the island.
On vacation.
We were on vacation, yes.
Let's also take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1092, which is also in evidence. You also took this picture, right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct. I did.
And this is another picture of Mr. Depp asleep in a chair.
No, he was nodding off. Sleep is different. When you're nodding off, you're high on drugs. Didn't even feel the cigarette in his hand that had, been burning on his leg. It was cause for alarm for me, naturally, because I cared about him.
It's your testimony under oath that Mr. Depp is holding a cigarette in this picture?
He had been.
You seem to really like taking pictures of Mr. Depp while he's sleeping, don't you?
I hated it. I hated it.
Let's look at Defendant's Exhibit 1094, which is also in evidence.
This woman. This woman.
You took this picture of Mr. Depp as well, didn't you?
I did.
You decided to take a picture of Mr. Depp asleep with ice cream spilled all over him, right?
He was nodding off, and I was worried about how bad the medications and the medication change and the drug use had gotten, where he wouldn't even feel ice cream or a lit cigarette on him, and it scared me.
So you took a picture of it?
Yes, I wanted him to get help, and Johnny's surrounded by enablers who clean up after him.
Objection,
and protect
Your
him.
Honor, I'm going to move to strike everything after yes, that she took this picture.
Still responsive, Your Honor.
The question was, did you take this picture?
All right, I'll sustain the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. This isn't a very flattering picture of Mr. Depp, is it?
No, it's not.
You wouldn't agree that this is, or you would agree with me that this is an embarrassing scene, right?
Yes, I think it's a part of getting help, is looking at it, seeing it.
But you sent this picture to one of your friends, didn't you?
I don't recall.
If we could please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 252.
Oh. She never recalls.
We'll only be looking at the portion of this document.
Inconvenient details.
So if we could please call it Defendant's Exhibit 252A.
252A.
And for ease, we've gone ahead and redacted it.
Yes, I was asking for support. That's correct.
There's no question yet, Ms. Heard. So directing your attention, I'm going to move to admit Exhibit 252A.
Any objection? Any objection, Ms. Brito? Could you turn your microphone again? I'm sorry. Thank you.
I need to see it first because I don't know what they redacted.
252.
We redacted the identifiers and anything that's not Ms. Heard's text messages.
Oh man,
Consistent
Camille,
with hearsay.
She's just fantastic. Yes, I love that too. There is no question yet, Miss Heard. Camille, she's dry and sharp.
You remember we approach?
Okay.
Oh man, she's feeling the pressure. You see how her mannerism change. The thing that really surprised me the most is that somebody that has post-traumatic stress disorder will, in my opinion, I don't know, but in my opinion, will have quite some difficulties being presented to recall very traumatic events of her life, namely the time where she was, abused with a bottle of liquor, that she was bleeding from her intimate parts, and she basically did nothing there than just frown and having kind of a sigh, and that's it. Maybe it took it by surprise because Camille was dry and quick, so she couldn't prepare like some kind of forced dry crying perhaps, but that's what we saw. And that's the part that actually shocked me a little bit, because I think that part should be the most painful. One of the most painful memories somebody will ever have of an abuser, and I'm just saying, I don't know, but I would imagine that such a thing would be like quite painful to remember. And she almost seemed more upset when she saw the James Corden picture. She seemed more upset, ready to cry, probably thinking about her career that was over, than when Camille brought up the alleged abuse with the bottle of vodka in her intimate parts. That was bizarre, in my opinion. That was quite bizarre, in my opinion. And I like what Johnny Depp team is doing. That is really not leading on. They're really presenting fact after fact, like event, alleged incident, corroborating with the picture that she presented. And for whatever strange reason, all those other amount of evidence, it's not there. Apparently, it's the fault of the lawyers. And I also loved when Camille, she just told us, like, oh, okay, then you gave your agent the picture to give people
refresh
magazine.
your recollection that you did, in fact, send this picture to your friend Rocky Pennington?
Yes, I did.
Here we go. You didn't remember just before.
And you sent it to her on August 7th, 2014 at 11:24 p.m., correct?
That is correct.
So you sent Miss Pennington this picture of Mr. Depp with ice cream spilled on him, right?
That is correct.
And you wrote, quote, "This is what I've been dealing with," end quote. Did I read that right?
You did read that right. That's correct.
And this is you protecting Mr. Depp.
That is me getting support from my best friend.
This is you supporting Mr. Depp.
This is me getting support from my best friend. I also need support.
You weren't afraid the monster would get upset that you took this picture?
This was Opiate Johnny. This is a different
Oh, wow. Now it's a
version of
different
him.
Johnny.
This is Opiate on the Nod Johnny.
And you weren't afraid that Opiate Johnny, or the monster as you called him, would get upset that you sent this picture to your friend?
Well, he's all of those things. Of course he could get upset. Of course that's scary to me. Of course.
What a
But-
Did it stop you from sending this picture to your friend, did it?
Why would it?
Mr. Depp's right hand is in his pocket, right, Ms. Heard? In this
Yes,
picture?
that's correct.
You also showed this jury pictures of cocaine. Do you recall that?
Yes, that's correct.
Let's please take a look at one of those. If we could please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 167A, which is already in evidence. Directing your attention, Ms. Heard, to a photograph. This is a photograph you took in March of 2013, right?
That is correct.
And this was taken at your apartment in Orange?
Yes,
And this is your breakfast table?
that is correct.
And it's your testimony that Mr. Depp left this breakfast table just the way you took it.
That is correct.
So this is what the table looked like after Mr. Depp had been doing cocaine?
Well, clearly he has yet to snort these lines.
Wow.
There are 4 lines of cocaine on this table, right, Ms. Heard?
In this picture, I see 4 lines.
There isn't any cocaine residue around those lines, right?
Not that I can tell, no.
Doesn't really look like anyone's been doing cocaine off that table, does it?
With all due respect, I'm not sure you know how that works.
I'm
Why, do you
asking
know?
if you do. You've testified you've done cocaine.
I have.
Doesn't really look like Mr. Depp or anyone was doing cocaine off that table, does it?
I beg to differ with you on that. When you snort cocaine, typically it goes into your nose.
And there's
Doesn't stay on the
residue.
table.
There's residue from that cocaine when your lips and nose touch the table, right?
Well, the tampon applicator next to the driver's license that you see is a device that I believe my sister had taught him to use in order to
Wow. Yeah.
put the cocaine in your nose.
I'm reveling. Look at that.
Mr. Depp is a pretty heavy smoker, right?
He is.
And that's a cigarette in the ashtray in the back there? Back right?
Yes, it looks like one of his hand rolls.
There's no other cigarettes in that ashtray, are there?
I see one cigarette.
The one that's not smoked.
That's correct.
There's no ash in that ashtray either, is there?
Not that I can tell in this picture.
It's pretty clean.
In this picture, it looks like it, yes.
It's a pretty neat table. Wouldn't you agree?
Depends on what you would call neat, I suppose.
And you sent this picture to your friend, Rocky Pennington, as well, didn't you?
I sure did.
Wow.
And when you sent it, you said, quote, "Look at my morning," or something like that. Is that right?
Yay for mornings.
So you have a habit of sending staged photographs to your friend Rocky, don't you?
I had a habit of communicating with my best friend about what was going on in my life.
You don't have any pictures of Mr. Depp actually consuming cocaine, do you?
I don't think I have a picture of him mid-snort. No.
You don't even have any pictures of Mr. Depp with cocaine.
What do you mean by that?
Holding cocaine, standing next to cocaine, sitting next to cocaine.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you haven't shown any of those pictures like that to the jury, have you?
I don't know. No, I haven't.
Oh, my God.
And you were never able to catch Mr. Depp with cocaine on film either, were you?
I never tried.
But you were able to catch him sleeping, right?
Oh, my God.
I have seen him pass out in all sorts of places, yes.
And you also captured a video of Mr. Depp in the kitchen that was played again for this jury today, beating up some cabinets. Do you recall that?
Sorry, say that again?
You recall capturing Mr. Depp in the kitchen of one of his homes, beating up some cabinets?
Yes. Slamming things around, yes.
So you took that video of Mr. Depp in the kitchen, right?
I did. I did.
And you took it on one of your iPad devices?
I took it on my iPad.
You were deposed in August of 2016 in connection with your divorce proceedings from Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct.
And you will recall that the video of Mr. Depp in the kitchen was released online the day before your deposition in August of 2016, don't you?
That's correct.
You're the one who released that video.
Incorrect.
Isn't that true?
That's incorrect. I flew in from another place at the time. I remember learning about it when I landed.
So it's just a coincidence that the video you took of Mr. Depp was released the day before you were deposed in connection with your divorce from Mr. Depp.
I absolutely had nothing to do with that. I wouldn't even know how to do something like that.
Oh, lady. Oh, lady.
You settled your divorce from Mr. Depp in August of 2016, right?
That sounds right.
And in connection with that settlement, you received $7 million from Mr. Depp, true?
That's correct.
And then
6.8, exactly.
Your settlement amount was $7 million.
That's correct.
And then you released a statement in which you claimed you would be donating the entire $7 million to charity, right?
That's correct.
You stated you would be donating half of the $7 million to the ACLU.
That's correct.
And you would be donating the other half to Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
That is correct.
And you also stated, with respect to the $7 million divorce settlement, that money played no role except for the extent that you could donate the money to charity.
Yes, that's correct.
If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1259.
Oh, I can tell you that she doesn't let go of the money. I can tell you that right now.
This is an article entitled Amber Heard Donates Johnny Depp Divorce Settlement to Charity. Read her statement in full. Is that correct?
That's what the title says, yes.
Directing your attention to the portion on the second page where it says, quote, read the statement below.
Oh, Camille, she's fierce, man.
Is that the statement you released, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
Your Honor, I move to admit the statement and the article as redacted.
Objection, hearsay.
It's her statement.
This is not her statement. This is
She just testified, Your Honor, that it's her statement.
May I see the full?
Everything
Oh,
else is
Camille.
redacted.
Okay, then I have no objection.
All right, 1259 in evidence as redacted.
The statement reads, as described in the restraining order and divorce settlement, money played no role for me personally and never has, except to the extent that I could donate it to charity, and in doing so, hopefully help those less able to defend themselves. As reported in the media, the amount received in the divorce was $7 million, and $7 million is being donated. This is over and above any funds that I have given away in the past and will continue to give away in the future. Did I read that correctly?
That is correct. I don't remember that last line, but I have no, it doesn't stand out to me as wrong.
There's nothing inaccurate in the statement.
Not that I recognize, no.
Mr. Depp donated $100,000 of the divorce settlement directly to the ACLU. Is that right?
Right at the beginning of the divorce settlement, he donated $100,000 to each charity on my behalf or towards my contribution.
So $100,000
To each.
to the ACLU.
And to the Children's Hospital.
And in response, you publicly demanded that Mr. Depp pay the divorce settlement directly to you instead of the charities, right?
That was always the agreement, actually, is for him to pay me directly. It was not his money as per the settlement agreement to give away and reap a tax benefit from. I said if he wants to do it and give to charity all of a sudden, then he should pay the correct amount and not try to get a big tax break for it. So effectively for his tax bracket, he should be paying double that amount to the charity directly. And if he wanted to pay the
Look
charity
how much she knows
directly,
about
he could.
taxes.
He could do that, was fine with me, but he would need to pay the adjusted amount.
Oh, man.
Ultimately, the rest of the $7 million divorce settlement was paid directly to you, right?
Over time, yes.
And Mr. Depp didn't end up paying the rest of the $7 million divorce settlement directly to the charities you identified.
That is correct. He paid them installments to me.
You stopped that from happening, didn't you?
I don't understand what your question is. I'm sorry.
You stopped Mr. Depp from paying the charities that you had named directly.
That is incorrect. I said if you want to pay the charities directly, pay the adjusted amount, or pay as per our agreement in the settlement or in the divorce, as per our agreement.
You also
And he
publicly
chose to do the former, not the latter. I mean, the other way around.
You also publicly stated that the $7 million divorce settlement should be paid to the charities immediately in full, right?
If he wanted to pay it in the way that he was suggesting, yes.
And you said publicly that the payments to the charities should not be drawn out over many years, right?
I said that I don't recall the exact words that I used, but basically that he shouldn't use this as a novel interest in getting a tax break. That if he wanted to do that and not pay me the settlement, that was fine, but he would have to pay the adjusted amount and not make it, a commitment he would not fulfill or try to avoid in some other way.
And that's because you wanted the entire world to think that you were donating every penny of the $7 million divorce settlement as soon as you received it from Mr. Depp. Isn't that right?
No, I was going to be receiving it in installments, and I would be paying in installments the donations.
In fact, you released a statement in response to Mr. Depp's $100,000 donations to the ACLU and CHLA, didn't you?
I don't recall.
Let's see if we can refresh your recollection. If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1260.
Let's see if we can refresh the recollection. Camille. Oh my God, she's fantastic.
This is an article entitled Amber Heard and Johnny Depp Row Over Divorce Donations. And if I could direct your attention to where it says, I believe it's on the second page, her spokeswoman responded in a statement. The language that follows the statement you released.
Objection, hearsay, spokeswoman, it's not her.
A spokesperson is an exception, Your Honor.
You want to come forward?
This is not looking good. It's interesting, she hasn't cried once so far. And yeah, Johnny's happier. We just want the truth. We just want the truth. That's what we want. I don't know if there is a behavioral expert in the chat, but the way she drinks and she licks her lips with her tongue, also it's a kind of strange thing, honestly.
Oh, really?
You released a statement
Your Honor, may we approach again?
Okay.
Yes, you see how she, like, the emotions, they immediately go away from her face. Then every now and then she remembers that she has to do something, and she makes some kind of strange, twitch or whatever. But you see, especially when she's under pressure, she looks with narrowed eyes straight to Camille. Yeah, that doesn't look nice to me. I'm gonna get some water in a second, guys. Oh, come on, don't stop. Don't do this to me.
Before we ask the next question, I'll just hand you a copy.
Oh my God.
This one.
I want to see it before you ask.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. That's exactly what I said.
Oh, guys, we're almost 10,000 in the chat. That's a record for my chat. That's awesome. Thank you so much. We're breaking
Your Honor,
records
would you
every
like to
day.
see one as well?
No, that's all right. That's fine. Thank you.
This is a redacted one.
Could you please turn your microphone on? I'm sorry, Ms. Bernhardt.
Your Honor, they gave me a redacted, but I don't have the unredacted to be able to see the full document.
I plan to admit it, or ask that it be admitted in redacted form. I'm taking away any hearsay, and I'm just trying to lay the foundation that this is a statement she released through a spokesperson.
How would I know whether there's more to it that shouldn't be redacted, Your Honor, if I don't see the full document?
Your Honor, the witness can testify as to whether this is a full statement or not.
The witness can't do. We have the right to be able to see the document.
All right. Do you have a document that's not redacted?
We can pull it up on our computers.
Okay.
Just give us a moment, Your Honor.
All right.
I can represent this is the full statement that's reported.
Okay, give her an opportunity to look at the unredacted one.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Wow.
Sorry, Ms. Barlow. May I approach?
Yes.
Camille, she's on fire, man. Camille, she's on fire. What a lawyer. As you can see, Humber, she doesn't like facts very much. I will try to do a video just of
So,
Camille.
Your Honor, can we have a copy of this?
Yeah, you can get a copy of that
Happily.
later
Yes.
today. Okay.
Right.
All right.
I mean, I think she should be giving us copies of the full.
Well, I
thing
understand, but
before.
we'll take care of that. But
Okay.
as of right now, can we continue?
We can, Your Honor, but I have an objection because of there's some quotation marks missing.
Okay, come forward.
So I would love to just take extract from this video, just of the parts of Camille, that she's nailing every single part, especially on the pictures that were presented, the facts, and just the timeline on everything. It was just excellent. Honestly, that was really freaking beautiful. Because even for, you know, for people which they're not expert, was presented in such a clear way. Yeah, it's very interesting the way she always looks at the jury. Every time she's kind of scanning, she's always scanning all of them to see if there's probably changes in her behavior, trying to cold read them, maybe to seek for eye contact, you know, because eye contact creates always a connection with somebody. So she's always seeking for that, if you noticed, you know, because eye contact creates familiarity also.
So directing your attention, Ms. Heard, where it says her spokeswoman responded in a statement.
Your
The
Honor-
language that follows.
Your Honor, again, she can't read it. She has to show it
The
to
language
her.
that follows.
Right. If you want to lay a
Is this-
foundation to that, go ahead.
You released a statement after Mr. Depp donated $100,000 to the ACLU and $100,000 to CHLA. Correct, Ms. Heard?
I think so, yes.
Okay. And the language that follows is the statement you released in response to Mr. Depp's donations, right?
I don't know if this is the official statement. I have no idea.
The statement that starts
Objection,
at
Your Honor.
Amber Heard. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Would you please read that to yourself, Ms. Heard?
Ellen, you need to get an holiday after this.
Yes.
Did you read all the way to the very bottom where the last word is supported?
Coming on online again, wait.
Yes.
Okay. That's the statement you released through your spokeswoman after Mr. Depp made the donations to the CHLA and the ACLU. Correct, Ms. Heard?
I do not recall exactly what my statement was. I don't disagree with anything in the statement, but I just simply don't recall what the statement was we released.
Is there anything inaccurate in that statement, Ms. Heard?
No.
Okay. I'm going to move to admit.
Objection, Your Honor, lack of foundation.
No, I'll overrule the objection. 1260 and evidence over objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Statement reads, Amber Heard appreciates Johnny Depp's novel interest in supporting two of her favorite charities, the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union for Domestic Violence, and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. This is great and unexpected news. And it continues. However, if Johnny wishes to change the settlement agreement, we must insist that he honor the full amount by donating $14 million to charity, which, after accounting for his tax deduction, is equal to his $7 million payment obligation to Amber. And it continues. We would also insist that the full amount be paid immediately and not drawn out over many years. Anything less would be a transparent attempt by Johnny's counsel, Laura Wasser and Patty Glazer, to reduce their client's true payment by half under the guise of newfound concern for charities that he has never previously supported, end quote.
How about that?
Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Thank you. After this, you kept commenting about the donation of your divorce settlement, right?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay. You spoke about donating your divorce settlement on a Danish TV show, correct?
I believe I said I had. I believe I said I donated it to charity, but it was already printed or already commented on and stated in the press. I had already released that information in the press. I think I just confirmed it on that show.
You appeared on a show called RTL Late Night, right?
I don't recall what show it was.
That's Yes.
If we could please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 346, which is a portion of your appearance on this program.
I think actually that's
We would ask
here.
that it be moved into evidence and ask for
any
permission
objection?
to publish
Your Honor,
it.
it contains, it has hearsay, it contains other communications with other individuals.
Your Honor, if we may
I think
approach
it's
very
in the
briefly.
Netherlands, this show. I'm not secure, but I think RTL, it's, I don't know if it's also in Denmark, but I think it's a show here in the Netherlands. I can actually find that out tomorrow. Oh man, she's not liking it. Look at those eyes. She's not liking it one bit. And you also see just before how she was snappy with the reply to Camille's question. You know, I don't know about that. Like that kind of snappiness. Sorry if I tried to mimic, you know, but you probably picked that up, you know, that kind of quick, dry, almost truncated reply at the end. You know, that it's, to me, an indication of being annoyed and still like kind of, you know, she had a little bit the raised chin when she did that, like a little bit like with that kind of superiority, you know, like snotty type of behavior. Wow, the chat is going nuts. Cannot even read the messages anymore. We are a ton of us, guys. It's almost finished for today, I think. Probably, I don't know if it's going on until 11:30. But this final part was just a relief. This final part was a relief. We're finally getting some closure around everything, some real facts, and also being confronted, you know? She's being confronted with facts. Hello guys from the Netherlands. It's a pleasure to see also Dutch people in the audience. Yeah, probably RTL, it's, you know, it's a channel that it's in many locations in Northern Europe.
So if we could please play and publish to the jury Plaintiff's Exhibit 346.
346 in evidence.
There allegedly were all kinds of accusations flying your way when you said all this, and
This
then there
sounds
was
like
a
Dutch. This is Dutch. I'm pretty sure this is Dutch. The guy sounds like he has a Dutch accent. I'm pretty sure.
$7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
ACLU is a human rights organization.
Sorry, ACLU is a prominent organization, nonprofit organization in the United States.
Yeah.
It's called the American
Right.
Civil Liberties Union, and they work on behalf of marginalized communities on the ground and in legislative reform.
Right.
And
Well, more power to you,
This is
because
Dutch.
that's something
This is
that
a
I've
Dutch
never
host.
I
heard
I'm
of.
wanted
100%
nothing.
secure. This is a Dutch host. This is here in the Netherlands. I'm 100% sure.
This interview was in October of 2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't recall when it was.
It was in 2018, right, Ms. Heard?
It's Dutch. It's in the
I
Netherlands.
don't remember when this was done.
This was after you had received the full $7 million of your divorce settlement from Mr. Depp, wasn't it?
Again, without knowing when it was recorded, I have no idea.
That's a non-Dutch.
$7 million divorce
host.
settlement was paid to you in full by February of 2018, right?
That's correct.
Let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1458, which is already in evidence.
Yes, the Netherlands. It's so amazing that she lied on TV saying that she had given the money and she's being called out.
This is the deal point memorandum from your divorce settlement, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes,
It's
that's
fantastic,
what it looks like.
man. It's fantastic.
If we go down to the bottom of page 4, there's a heading labeled equalization payment. Do you see that?
Yes.
And underneath,
Hey, what happened here? The volume went off. Hey, volume, come on. Come on. What's happening?
that payment directly.
You got to turn on your microphone, Ms. Berderhoff. I'm not going to hear you.
Objection to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to.
Okay.
It's a he literally testified to it in court.
I'll overrule objection. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Depp's accountant, Edward White, testified that he made the payment directly to the ACLU and CHLA, correct?
I believe so.
What are they doing?
These were all made to you, weren't they?
That is correct.
And the final payment of $2.3 million is on February 1st, 2018, right?
The final payment, yes.
And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule.
I'm going to object to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to. It's
Overrule
improper.
objection. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule, right?
I don't believe they were. He might have
That's
testified
not my
to
question,
that.
Ms. Heard. My question was, you were here in court when Mr. White testified under oath that all the payments were made on schedule.
I was here every day in court. I heard his testimony, yes.
Okay. So back to October of 2018, this was before Mr. Depp sued you for defamation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
He didn't sue you until after the op-ed came out in December of 2018, right?
He sued me in 2019.
And the op-ed came out in December of 2018.
That is correct.
So in October of 2018, you had received your entire $7 million divorce settlement. You would agree with me?
That is correct.
Okay. And you hadn't yet been sued by Mr. Depp.
This is October, correct.
So in this October 2018 interview, you said that you had, quote, donated,
She's so
end
pissed.
quote, your entire divorce settlement to charity, right?
That's correct.
And in fact, your exact words were, quote, $7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, end quote, right?
That's correct. I made that statement as soon as I got a divorce and we reached the settlement. That's when I pledged it, right then.
And you say this because you, quote, wanted nothing, end quote.
That is correct.
But you hadn't donated your entire $7 million settlement to charity at that point, had you?
That's incorrect.
Sitting here today, Ms. Heard, you still haven't donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity. Isn't that right?
Incorrect. I pledged the entirety of the
Ms. Heard,
settlement, $7 million
that's not my
to
question.
charity, and I
Heard,
intend to
Ms.
fulfill
Heard,
those obligations.
Ms. Heard, that's not my question.
Look
Please.
how she's getting
What was
Try
annoyed.
to answer my question. Sitting here today, you have not donated the $7 million, donated, not pledged, donated the $7 million divorce settlement
Oh, look at
to
that
charity.
look.
I use pledge and donation synonymous with one another. They
But I
the same
don't.
thing.
Ms. Heard,
But I don't.
I don't use it synonymously.
That's how donations are paid.
Ms. Heard, respectfully, that's not my question. As of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the ACLU. Yes or no?
I have not yet.
And as of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, correct?
I have not yet. Johnny sued me.
So as of today, you have not donated, paid $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity, right?
I have not been able to fulfill those
really?
obligations yet.
You had 1 year.
And that's because you did want something, didn't you?
I didn't want anything and I didn't get anything.
You wanted Mr. Depp's money.
Didn't get it, wasn't interested in it. I
my
loved Johnny,
God.
that's why I was with him.
You wanted praise for donating the money, right?
That's incorrect.
You wanted good press.
In general, one.
She's not
has
crying
good press,
once.
Yes.
There is no
You wanted to
post-traumatic
seem
stress
altruistic
disorder
publicly.
coming up.
Wasn't my interest. My interest is in my name and clearing my name and at the time, I was being called a liar and my motives were being questioned. I did see it as important to clear that up. I wanted to make a statement to make sure that there was not any doubt that I couldn't be labeled these things just because Johnny was a bigger star and had more publicity reach.
You wanted to remind everyone of your claims of domestic violence against Mr. Depp, right?
No, I wanted to move on with my life.
Oh, yeah.
You wanted to make those claims seem believable.
They are believable. They were
You wanted
believable.
them to be seen, you wanted to be seen, as a noble victim of domestic violence,
I
didn't
have
you?
never
Look
wanted
at
to be
that.
seen
She's
as a victim.
Look at that.
Nor have I ever called myself one.
Look at the eyes, man.
You
She's
testified
getting-
under oath that, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated to charity.
I'm
end
almost
quote,
getting
didn't you?
scared to look at
That's
her.
correct. I pledged the entirety.
No. Ms. Heard, my questions. Your counsel will have time to redirect you after. You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote.
That is correct. I pledged the entirety.
I'm going to move to strike everything after yes.
All right.
No. Ms. Hurt, this is really inappropriate.
I'll sustain the objection and we'll just move forward.
Thank you.
Let's move forward. Next question.
Oh, Camille.
Under oath, that statement wasn't true, was it, Ms. Hurd?
I'm sorry, I don't follow your question. Sorry.
You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of my divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote. That statement wasn't true.
It is true. I pledged the entirety
Oh
to
my
charity.
God, the lady.
The statement...
When you say you buy a house, you don't pay
Ms.
for the
Hurd,
entire house
Ms. Hurd,
at one time.
respectfully,
You pay it
I'm
over
not asking,
time.
Ms. Hurd.
All right. Next question, please.
Thank you. That statement isn't true today, as you sit here today, is it?
It is true. I pledged the entirety.
But you
to
didn't
charity.
donate it.
Unfortunately,
You didn't donate it. It's a yes or no.
I haven't been able to to fulfill those
So that's a no, right,
obligations.
Ms. Hurd?
I made the pledge. I want to be very clear. I pledged the entirety. I haven't been able to fulfill those pledges because I've been sued.
Oh my God.
You had all of the $7 million for 13 months before Mr. Depp sued you, and you chose not to pay it to the charities you pledged it to. Is that correct, Ms.
I
Hurd?
disagree with your characterization
Oh
of
my
that.
God. Lady, there is no way out of this.
Let's look at your sworn testimony from the UK.
There is no way out of this. Look at her. Look at how she's mocking. Look how her behavior changed radically. She just nodded with their head like in disagreement that she's pissed off. There are no fake tears,
Yes, ma'am.
no fake crying. The look in her eyes completely changed.
Thank you.
She became sharp. Oh man. Now the real her is coming out.
Ms. Vasquez, do you want me to close the shades?
That would be
Okay. There's this light coming across. And
So I appreciate
Yes.
that.
Has to be a
It's
little
probably
more
good light.
The
Thank you,
light
Donna.
of
All right.
truth. That's what is that. That was the light of truth. Don't speak, don't speak. Wow, guys, we're
This
10,000
is
in
your
the chat.
third witness statement that you submitted in the UK action, right, Ms. Hurd?
Correct.
And this statement was made under oath, true?
That is true.
I'm directing your attention to the last page of that statement. That's your signature, right?
Yes, it is.
So you made this sworn statement on February 26, 2020.
That's correct.
And directing your attention to paragraph 4. It says, quote, I remained financially independent from him the whole time we were together, and the entire amount of my divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote.
That is correct.
Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
The him you were referring to is Mr. Depp.
That is correct.
Wow. There is no way out of this. Camille did just a
Most
brilliant
of the money
job.
that was donated to the ACLU and CHLA in your name came from someone else. Isn't that right?
I don't know what you mean by most of.
Well, at least $500,000 that was donated to the ACLU in your name wasn't paid by you, right?
I believe Elon made a donation in my honor on one of the years.
Honor?
Yeah,
Why?
and it didn't come out of your $7 million divorce settlement, right?
No, nor did it count towards my pledge.
And at least $500,000 that was donated to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles in your name wasn't paid by you either.
Right, those were made at the same time.
And it didn't come out of your $7 million divorce settlement.
Nor did it count to my 3.5 obligation.
That
Those
was one
$500,000
expensive
payments
date.
came from your new boyfriend, Elon Musk, right?
I don't know if he was a new boyfriend at the time.
Oh!
You got him to pay part of what you promised to these two charities, didn't you?
Incorrect.
Because you wanted to keep at least some of the $7 million divorce settlement for yourself, right?
I'm very wrong about that.
Oh, wow.
I think this, if Your Honor is
Okay,
fine,
you said
this is a good stopping
breaking
point.
point. Okay, that's fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll stop here for the evening. Remember tonight, do not do any
Wow.
outside research and do not discuss the
Wow.
case with anybody. I know these days are a little longer, and I appreciate your patience and your taking care of everything
Camille,
here. Please
drop
take care of
the
yourself
mic.
tonight, okay? And we'll see you in the morning at 9 a.m.
Guys. Oh, guys, this was fantastic. That was fantastic. Camille literally slapped her in the face, nothing but with the truth. And, you know, we had to sit here like through freaking almost 4 hours of her lawyers just pampering her and just saying their side of the story as if she is this angelic being that has never done anything wrong into her life. And then finally, when Camille goes there, we are presented, all of us, with facts. With facts, beautiful. Just beautiful. That's all we asked, for the truth. And look how immediately ran out. Boom, gone. Bye-bye. I find it very beautiful that they're trying to nail her on the fact that she is so adamant to look like so incredibly egalitarian with her donation, and yet she had like 15 months, 14 months, 16 months or something like that, Camille said, to have given this money, but she chose not to. She at this time before, Johnny Depp sued her for defamation, and so she would have had all the time in the world to get rid of these 7 million that she didn't care about because she was independent, right? But somehow she also managed to get, to my understanding, either $500,000 or $1 million out of somebody else's pocket to be pledged, to be given in her name. Wow. What a thing, eh? Lisa, thank you so much for the super chat. We love your stream because your commentaries, we love your commentary because you're saying exactly what we're all thinking, and it's the truth. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I've said this many times. I'm not here to hate on anyone, but this seems so obvious that it's painful to watch. You know, it's really painful to watch, and hopefully, you know, like the just thing comes to the surface, and we can move on. Camille did a wonderful job, really. I'm going to try to do an excerpt of this conversation, of this part, just presenting all the facts. And if I know of anything new from here to tomorrow, I will make another video of it and I will share it with you guys. So I think thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you to all 10,000 of you. I really enjoyed this. Tomorrow I will do the cover of the trial again. So if it starts at 3 o'clock European time, Amsterdam time, I'm on. If it starts at 4 o'clock European time, I'm on. So we will cover it throughout the day. And if you know anything new, just please send me a link on Instagram or on YouTube. And yeah, justice be done. Thank you so much, guys, for this wonderful evening. And I'm gonna go immediately to work to post some extract of this live, some recap of what happened, so that people can also enjoy a shorter version, because literally we have been streaming for 5-6 hours here, so that's pretty long to go through a video. So guys, thank you so much. I wish you a good evening. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you tomorrow, okay? 24 hours, well, less than 20, let's say 15 hours to rest, and take good care of yourself.